West region as a whole. They really would like to win this game and tie it up at 1 and 5. Just because, you know, when you see Mad coming in, people did have some expectations on that team. This hook is going to land.
That's cleansed down early on, but still damage from Anda. Keep in mind he still has Flash if needed and a Body Slam from Koala if he really needs that. Walk's going to take some autos. There's no more real crowd control left, so they'll be able to walk away with just some injuries. And depending on how hard Anda goes, they can maybe force delayed recalls, but theoretically they can get back to lane and not miss too much here after regenning at the fountain.
Still, really nice level 1, and they may actually start on the red. We'll see if they're going to stick around at all. They have a lot of wards dropped on this side of the map, but could be another delayed invade.
They certainly get a bit of ward control here if they want
They are
it.
spotted.
Yeah.
That would be a pretty big failure if they didn't notice that was actually dropped, because that ward was dropped in their vision. So I think they should back off and go to their own blue. But we will see. Could be a level 1 roam. This is a pretty crazy start.
Yeah, well, they know that no one's invading just yet. Now they can see it, and as Red Buff's getting leashed up, Koala gonna have a pretty hard time stealing. I wouldn't body summon a Red if I were him. But a lot of wards all around make sure that they know Empty isn't waiting to smite.
Oh,
and that's a hook over the wall. They're gonna follow through in this one, but there's no lantern to bring him in. Ignite is burned, but now Afro is gonna have to jump out of this one. Krugs are aggroing, and he's at half HP. Afro probably should have just flashed over the wall. He's burning down. He will not bait the body slam. He'll stay alive, but that's probably gonna be a forced recall. Landing's gonna be hard with that little health.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to go back to base.
Oh, Koala could body slam this. He's gonna try to go for the kill. It's not quite gonna be enough, but the lasso back in. This is already a bloody game. And Afro and Ricaro top the damage charts.
This is a bit of a mess. I mean, they go back in. They do overall come out on top, I would say, with the steal away of the red. And it's going to be a bit of a tougher start there. But Empty is already counter jungling. He's already taking away Anda's red. So not even sure if that ends up being true. And Afromu going to have to use both his potions. Does get very low, but they do have both summoners down on Stitch.
However, now Empty could be spotted out here.
His ward didn't go in the brush, so it means he's gonna get spotted, has to flash away and jumps in the queue forward. Couple more hits, 2 autos, and Anna could kill him, but he's got no flash left. Can someday come down. He's zoned out by PK, and Empty's still on the run. He's trying to figure out which way to go, but he's gonna be auto attacked. He juked to look for skill shots, but the red buff lands, and Anda gets the easiest kill you've ever seen.
And once again, Anda having a fairly good start to this game. Nice invade. I think over-aggressive from Afro nearly cost them, but then passed well back to the top side of his jungle before stopping a blue buff and able to shut that invade down.
Yeah, definitely the case, and now certainly coming out very far ahead. He hits level 3, he stole away the buff, and he's coming over here behind Candy.
Rune Prison into the shot. That's going to be very easy. Now can Candy get out? Health bar is very low. Aftershock will not be enough. Anda 2-0.
I mean, he knew that Anda was right there. He knew that he had just killed his jungler, that he would be on that side of the map, and Candy playing without the respect. He doesn't have cleanse. He has no way to get away from this, but here is Empty. No ward in the brush. He's not sitting in the brush. You can actually clear that camp from the brush, so you see if Anda is coming over, and should have been able to position perhaps a little bit better to keep himself safe.
Yeah, and the other thing you can actually do is pull it nearly around the corner, so your character model is in Fog of War, and then you can't get the jump on them. You're throwing pebbles into the Raptors itself, helping it clear out the camp. This is just actually a heads-up play from Anda. I love the fact that he flicked him back towards the middle part of the lane, made maximum distance between Candy and the turret. That's just very well played.
Also positioning himself to block the Justice Punch, so not enough difference was really ever going to be able to be created there. A really good start for 100 Thieves, but you have to feel a little bit has been kind of donated over to them here by GRX in these early minutes.
Well, let's see what else can happen here. It's only 300 gold difference, though. Keep in mind, other lanes have been going pretty well. You've got good farm from Empty and a bit of a lead for Stitch down on the bottom side. So, Rune to be had, a nice flay forward, but Stitch does have cleanse if needed. Hook comes out, cleanses away, still gets pulled back, though. And the seismic shove means Anda's already 3-0.
And once again, this guy's just everywhere on the map, and every single time he goes for a play, it just seems to be working. Very nicely done from 100 Thieves jungle.
Yeah, a bit of a dream game here for Anda. 3 kills in 4 minutes is a very impressive start for him, and he's looking for more. He's spotted out on a ward, but we'll see if he can get behind Candy here.
Well, Candy does have flash, and he's going to stay out of range of this Ryu Rise, so that won't be a kill this time around. The first failed gank of the entire game for Anda.
And I like how active 100 Thieves have been on the map. You know, we said we would like to see it against Invictus. They went for some plays, they didn't really work out. This time around, pretty much every play they have gone for has worked. Koala might look to stop the recall here. We'll actually let him go back. And this is one of those games now where if you are GRX, you need the game to slow down a lot to come online.
Yeah, you definitely do. And Afromu, nice with the flash play. The cleanse was available, but Stitch Not much chance of getting out of that one without his flash up. He did have the cleanse, but not able to create this distance. And you see Anda fling him right in.
You're almost guaranteed to get that pull back unless you get it pretty much on the frame, you get hooked. So still created the distance, even though the hook ended afterwards. And now,
we go again.
Looking at round 2, Stitch is summonerless. Koala's not too far away. Will they make this play? Afro is in fog. The same for Anda. But this is a giant mini wave. If you fail this dive, you take a lot of damage. They're going to try. Hook is not going to land. Good dodge by Stitch. And a seismic shove not going to land either. Koala stays alive.
Yeah, nicely played there by GRX and their bottom lane. Pretty calm stuff from Stitch. An easy sidestep. He will stay alive. And now it's going to be a 3-man play, or potentially 2-man play here up on the top side. They're actually trying to keep Someday from getting back to his turret.
Swap to the Ignite as well for PK, so if he's able to land the ultimate, this should confirm a kill.
The flash E over. There's no way out for Someday. This is surely going to be the top lane going down. And a lot of farm lost to an already TP-less top lane.
And this is what we saw in the gauntlet from GRX. The ability to play around PK on Urgot was very good. Something that I would have liked them to go back towards more top lane carries, and that's a good kill.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, the kill itself is less impressive to me than the setup. That he had already pushed Someday out of his lane twice. He forced him to TP back, chunked him out again pre-6, then he has to make the long walk back, and they're there waiting for him. So, you know, the execution may have been easy, but certainly some impressive laning from PK to make it happen.
Yeah, and I think the more impressive thing is they confirmed the kill instantly. That's a flash into a flip. That guarantees your ultimate. We've seen so many missed Urgot ultimates, just throwing it out from a brush and kind of hoping it hits. They know that they have the play set up. Why not go for the 100% way to complete it?
Of course, it just denies more and more farm. 21 CS lead up in that top lane. PK might just be the force that GRX needs to get a win on the board here in the main stage at Worlds. They will sadly end 4th or tied for 3rd. We'll see which way that ends up there. And they're going to keep clearing the jungle for now, though. And equal in farm, but up 800 gold from all the kills he's gotten. We'll see if 100 Thieves can keep winning through the jungle.
And both of these teams actually made changes throughout the year. You know, we mentioned in last game the addition of Anda halfway through that second split for Meteos, and then at the end of the year, adding Rikara to this lineup certainly changed the way that 100 Thieves had to approach the game. On the flip side, you have to remember that they were playing additional mid laner, additional support player, sometimes 2 additional junglers at the same time for GRX. This is a team that was trying to find that magic recipe.
Yeah, not even Stitch played all the games. Wuji, their other mid laner, played bot lane a couple times as Candy came in once in a while, and now Stitch going to be looking at this one as the rest of the squad coming through. Aftermoo is a little bit isolated, but they've got the damage on Stitch as well. Who's the first kill? It's going to be a Thresh getting the kill onto that Kalista, but Body Slam's going to get a trade as Koala gets himself the second kill of the fight. Both supports now +1 in that column, but Koala's still running, and Gragas has very little places to go. Knocked down as Anda's on his 4th of the game.
Empty's got to be wishing he was level 6 so badly right now. If he had the ultimate, perhaps could have turned something around there, but instead, it is that 2 kills, 400 Thieves, and everyone gets away but Aframu.
And 100 Thieves are just looking much more coordinated right now. They seem to be on the same page of what they want to be executing. They're playing a lot more aggressively, a lot more free, and this is a turret dive taking place between 2 turrets where they know members of GRX can make it down, but still the confidence to go for it.
That was actually a hook that was flashed over by Koala that then ends up hitting Stitch, so a little bit unlucky there for Stitch. Gets betrayed by Koala, does go down, and Aframu was heading over to the top side, but looks like he called off that roam. Had got the early Moby boots by, so was at least thinking about roaming up top to try to turn around top lane, but may have decided to call that off.
Well, sad for Stitch, this Kalista game not going too well. 0-2-1. The ganks have been really good. Obviously, level 1 was pretty crazy. They burned some summoners that way. Anda made a visit, but not the start you really want. They're down 8 CS in a matchup where most people had been beating Rikara overall in this group stage.
Yeah, and I really think it becomes very hard for Kalista to fight from behind because you are so short range. You know, you always are kind of exposing yourself in these fights, and very often you have to see a Kalista snowballing to kind of have that really big effect. You will still have the ultimate for playmaking, though.
It is another one of those situations as well where you're building the exact same item. So it's not like, you know, you can say Blade of the Ruined King to Ginsu's, I'll have a better spike when I'm sitting on my lifesteal, I'll have a safer laning phase. The fact that they just build the same stuff, but, you know, Rikara is accelerated, makes it an even more difficult lane. Now we see Anda trying to impact this top side.
PK has Ghost though from his spellbook, pops it right away. Now can he get away from the knockup is the important thing. Not gonna be pulled back, no seismic shove either. Hoping it would have gotten that, so a pretty easy Ghost pickup there. And now into the mid lane they go. Ryu has no summoners, might be fear, but not gonna happen. Out they go.
Yeah, what happened to the fear there?
He didn't press
He
E.
just didn't use it. I'm not sure if it was on cooldown or a misclick or something, but just straight up did not use the fear there onto Ryu. Could have potentially been at least a chunk out. Should have been something, but instead the ultimate is revealed and they get nothing.
Yeah, it was always going to be a hard kill to confirm because Candy had no way to get into that play. Had no flash available. Looked like ultimate was still on cooldown as well. So
it still is.
Yeah, nothing really going to be happening there. And you can see right now they're just trying to protect Someday from the dive. Rise ultimate can get him a little bit closer to that turret, but Someday is taking wicked punishment up here. And PK really is becoming the win condition right now for the GRX lineup.
Definitely the case, and I do think that Urgot can take over a game in the team fights. We have seen some Urgots really be able to do that. It's not very often that you see the Urgot being able to be that full-on split push win condition, but we'll see if PK can make it happen for his team. Perhaps with some help from Empty, you may be able to snowball that lane out of control.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen PK do it on Urgot. I mean, one of the team fights that comes to mind was actually when he was able to flash over the Raptor wall and got a 4-man stun in the regional gauntlet to qualify them. So not someone that is unfamiliar with the champion. I think it's just about how much of the breaks the rest of the map can put on, because it is starting to take a little bit of a beating elsewhere.
Well, time for round 4 into the bottom lane for Anda, as this time around there is still no flash for Stitch, but has an ulti to bring Koala to safety. And the trigger's not pulled. Is Empty waiting around at the wings, but there's the hook. And it's shove, and they finally pull him back, maybe a bit late, but at least he's not dead. 3v2 in the bot lane, as they're going to keep pushing though, of course, as 100 Thieves gets the turret damage.
Yeah, it's still a really good play from 100 Thieves. They get the TP out of Candy here. They get the chunk on Koala. They're pressuring the turret. It may just go down, but it looks like they will be able to hold on at least for another wave.
As long as Galio's not threatening, this is going to be pretty safe. Ryu's choosing to recall out of mid lane, and now the same for Galio, and this is going to be the turret falling down first toward in for 100 Thieves.
But Ryu's positioning on that recall, or the fake recall, was actually really nice. You can see PK also responds in kind. Because they don't have any vision in the bottom side jungle, the fact that Ryu just walked into River, they flash forward.
Flash over, that's going to be the cleanse, and now he's a little bit alone, gets pulled back in with the Lantern. Nocturne, will he re-engage? Yes, and Empty gets himself a kill into Rakara. Trade on the Koala, not just yet, finally so. 2 for 100 Thieves, they knock down Empty and Koala.
Anda's just so strong this game. I mean, the fact that he's already on jungle items, Sork Boots, he has 5 kills, and he's level 8. He is really being a difference maker here, and now comes the dive.
Yet again, Stitch has a flash, but no way out, Anda. 6-0-2, he's dominating the Lantern to safety. Afro just flashed away from the ult, but it didn't land. No, PK is on the hunt, but can anyone even join? No, as 100 Thieves get a 3 for 1 extended dive.
Yeah, that was a very close ultimate from PK, probably wishing he had a flash first. However, you can just see how confident right now this lineup is playing. Rakara goes forward, starts this one off shore, and looks over-aggressive, but the rest of the team still on the same page.
And I'm not sure he knew Koala was there. Empty, though, is able to go in, finish off that kill, and it looked like he took so much damage from actually Unraveled Earth there from Anda, so losing so much of his health, and then they decide, hey, we can just dive this guy. Anda's going to wrap him behind. Aframu able to set it up for the fling once more. Aframu has been on point with his hooks and plays this game. They grab another kill, and this looked like it would have been the trade, but that one looked like it touched his model just barely out of range.
Man, maybe 50 range, sure. I don't know what it was, but that was so incredibly tight. Would have been a nice kill to pick up for PK, as he has been the win condition. 1-0-0 on the Urgot. Would have loved for that to be a 2 with a giant shutdown over Anda.
And it's always tough because he's the only lane that's winning, and he now had to TP away from his lane to stop bullying Someday to try to help somewhere else. Didn't get anything from it, so yes, he's still ahead of Someday, but it gives Someday a little bit more time, a little bit more space to get those levels and those items. So that TP, fairly costly for PK.
And even though PK's ahead, I mean, I wouldn't say he's Oblivion or 10 Steel Dark Steel ahead, so he's probably not as ahead as other people on the map. So, you know, he's having a good game, but by comparison, Anda just a little bit more impressive right now.
Having maybe his best game. Yeah, it's definitely going well for the 100 Thieves jungler, kind of doing a bit of a 1v5, as everyone else is holding up, but he's the difference maker here as the squad rotates top, and of course there's Anda, part of the siege as well. Seismic Shove not going to land, Empty waiting in the wings. He knows he can ult in, and look at this dive at the top side. PK gets the ult out, and they're going to trade those, but the health bar is so small. Looking for round 2, exhaust is on. 3 more auto attacks make it 1. PK knocks down Someday under the turret.
And you know what, PK, I take it back, baby. You are going to be able to carry just as hard as what Anda is, because he just turret dives him a second time.
I mean, he's making it look easy against Someday. This was the first team all NALCS top laner, the best top lane performer in the NALCS this year.
And now into the top lane as the ults come across. A good lantern that's called out. Gets him to safety, but now a re-engage in the 4 versus 4. Rune's gonna show up, and it's Ryu right on top. Gets taunted, cleanses the way, but it's gonna be the kill as they knock down Koala. And that hook from downtown means 2 more kills for Anda.
The man is legendary at 15 minutes, and they want more.
They're gonna find some damage, but can they get the rest as their shove won't land? But now with the Flay and Candy does not have a way out, and it's going to be Rikara showing up on the scoreboard.
And I think this is what more people wanted to see early game. Just some initiative, the willingness to make plays. And you know, whilst not the same caliber of opposition, GRX is winless in this tournament so far. Really do respect the way that 100 Thieves have been attacking this game.
I mean, Anda is having an incredible game. Certainly have to give a lot of credit, I think, to Aframu as well, who has really been the enabler for a lot of these plays, setting up for Anda to come in and pick up these kills.
Mate, he is 100% presence in these kills. Ryu trying to ruin that, gets the cleanse out of Stitch, but when it's 11 kills and you're 8-0-3, that is a hard carry performance.
Yeah, I mean, Stitch was down 4 levels there to Ryu. He did just hit level 9, but you know, very far behind in the experience as well here. And here's the play one more time, and moving up to the top side, Aframu setting it up with the hook.
And this is a risk of playing a dive come from behind. You think that you see the kill. You dive on, you get everything in your favor. Oh, well, no, he's saved, not to safety, and now all of a sudden you're running away from just a superior force at this stage of the game. Ryu going in was dangerous, I will say. If that was a little bit more of a 50-50 gold lead, wouldn't have been the case, but the skill shot's still on point, and 100 Thieves able to clean up.
Yeah, Aframu making it look like a point and click with the hooks, has hit hook after hook this game, and a good sidestep by Candy, but it's not going to save him as the 4 members are able to chase him down. And Empty, you know, with the engage there, it was a good thought, but they haven't been able to really execute on these Nocturne engages, haven't really been able to get much out of them.
And it does seem like some loss of focus for GRX. Stitch failed to ult that entire fight to save Koala, one of the big strengths of that Callista. So some things left on the table here. One of these picking up everything that is allowed for them as they look now for their 3rd turret kill of the game. It'll be close with the Herald charge, but not just yet.
And Anda now picking up the Mage Eyes. He is snowballing and gonna go all in for it. We'll see if he can get it all the way stacked up to 25.
Absolutely. At the same time, has gone back, bought himself a stopwatch as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go into something like a Banshees at the same time after this point. So now on a Mage, if you feel like you're ahead, Magi's isn't actually the riskiest play because you do have a 600 gold please don't kill me button as well as a very clean itemization ever since they gave Banshees Veil. Cooldown reduction is just one of those items that is much smoother to pick up.
That being said, this is still Nocturne, Gragas, you know, Nocturne can fly in alongside some of that CC. You might die before you actually have a chance to get the stopwatch off, but we'll see if they can ever even get to him in a fight, because so far has been all and all the time.
And, you know, when I'm 8-0-3, I'm not really scared of the 1-3-1, but potentially could be the case. And once again, just looking for his play on the map.
4 members bot for PK.
4 versus 1. Likely to be a victory here. Does have the flash, but does not have the health bar. A shutdown, of course. It's 4 more stacks to Anda.
And a lot of gold. Like, he just got another shutdown. They're going to be able to push back in. He's been around for all the sieges on the turret. Just in continuing to grow this gold lead. This is a stellar performance.
It really is, and it's a feel-good game for Anda, for the 100 Thieves, at least so far. You know, it's one to be able to kind of remember, have something to be pretty happy about here. In your final performance of Worlds 2018.
And we'll wait as they keep pushing forward. Either way, of course, this game is the eulogy for both these squads at Worlds 2018. The flash ult forward, another catch, but that's a good ult out for Stitch, and the re-engage now for the Galio, but it's already Koala going down, and as they jump in, looking for a couple to pick up now as they're trying to rub it their fear, and Stitch finds himself a single kill. Empty, though, just barely shut down from downtown, a double kill, and now Stitch being run through. Another legendary pickup for Anda on his 10th now.
007 Ryu getting involved, but it's all been about Anda. So strong. 22 stacks! This is insane at 19 minutes. He is just going off this game, and PK now looking for something, but not going to be able to find it. It's such a tough game for the Urgot to really make good on his advantage. He has been so good in the 1v1, finding pressure against Ssumday constantly, but the rest of his team is just way too far behind.
It certainly is. We see another play.
Ooh, and Ricard getting taken down. PK in a 1v3 grabs a solo kill, and he's going to maybe try to walk out. Ryu will get the damage, does find himself the trade. Candy holding the front line, and they will get that 1-for-1.
And I think it was Kobe that was talking about it on the earlier cast. The advantage of snowballing bottom lane to open up the map to not only get your jungler ahead, but to get your 80 carrying support online. Flip that, you can see on the top side of the map, PK still having a terrific performance. When your team is down 6,000 gold in 20 minutes and you're up 30 CS, that's a pretty good game individually, but just not able to have the same relevancy as he's been caught in a side lane a little bit too much, and the rest of the team hasn't gotten going around him.
Yeah, it's definitely very tough. I mean, you're not going to have vision. You're not going to have support. Everyone really is kind of coming to Someday's rescue, whereas PK certainly just doesn't have that same level of assistance. And 100 Thieves for them, it really does feel like a question of, can you clean this game up very quickly? Can you look like you can close this game cleanly, or are they going to try to have some fun with it, try to brawl it out a little bit more in what is their final game?
I would like to see them play with that sort of sense of pride of cleaning out the game, closing it efficiently, and just sending your way off from Worlds with a dominant win like it has been so far, and making that happen. Of course, for GRX, of course, you want to see them get signs of life as well. I would like to see them make that comeback happen. This would be one of the largest comebacks of Worlds. It would be another feel-good victory as well.
And I think compositionally, it is possible, but the gold really is the problem. They're going to need to have that miracle engage. You have to find Rikara and immediately and get a kill to really have a hope, I think, in the extended fight. So we'll see if someone like Koala could really find that engage to set up the fight.
And it would be a pending shutdown on and it would be maybe 900 or so total gold, counting the assist. With you get that one, and so that's a third of the gold lead right there, and maybe start working it back. You could lose 10 stacks on the Giants if you die there. Midling going to fall though and stretch the gold lead another 500, and that means 100 Thieves can now start working towards that Baron control. You look at the GRX vision, and they can at least see the Baron pit, if not their own jungle, and that is Anda spotted. Afro as well, they'll have to kite back.
And I like this out of 100 Thieves. Continually attack
be, of course, that 6th game showdown. If as you mentioned during Champions League, if 100 Thieves pull the upset win here, it means that there was no tiebreaker needed. Fnatic can just win, take care of business, and then be the #1 spot and suddenly have a much easier chance. As we know, all the other teams that could be in the quarterfinals, and you see everything come out, all the #1 teams were the expected #1 teams. 2nd seed out of this group is much harder than it would be if you were 1st seed out of the group.
Absolutely, and I think that the big thing for me is that we have some wild cards coming out now. EDG, no one really knows how they're going to perform. Are we going to see the best of EDG or the worst of EDG losing laning phase? Cloud9 had a night and day performance in their group stages. I think that Fnatic has been more consistent than both of those teams, and IG now need to show a same consistency as they go up against 100 Thieves.
IG to me were a very consistent team. They only dropped 1 match for the entirety of the LPL summer split. Yes, they did lose eventually in Game 5 to Royal Never Give Up in the very finals there, but that still speaks to me like a consistent team that can put on a lot of good showings. I had IG as a top 4 team coming into Worlds. That has not changed for me, and I want to see if they can keep taking care of business and make that 6-0 run.
Well, it's just so fun to compare IG to Fnatic, to be honest, because they both interchange top laners. Both their top laners play different roles on the team, and yet they find success with both of them. They both have support players that domestically people will say should be questioned. They make questionable decisions at certain time. I mean, Hillsong and Baolan at the moment, you know, certainly 2 of those players that you'd have to take a look at. So many juxtapositions you can make.
And of course, we'll see that in about 2 hours' time when they do match up in our 6th game of the day, and maybe the 7th if we have a tiebreaker. But for now, it is 100 Thieves hoping to do a little bit of what Team Liquid did on their exit of Worlds, which is they might be out, they might be down, but getting a feel-good win for just the regional pride in and of itself could be very valuable here.
Certainly could, and I like their start to this game. They've started everyone in lane. They're going to look to get the early push. They're going to start Ander and Fog of War on the 5-6, early engage.
And a stun, though. That's actually good target selection by Baolan. Stun Rakara, keep the Xayah from attacking anymore, and that trade goes pretty much equal. And Xayah Rakan at level 1 is one of the very strongest duos, and didn't get much out of that.
Yeah, you've also got to say 400 Thieves, this draft, is something that kind of tends to lend itself towards a more up-tempo game, which I think is the style of play you're going to need to bring out against IG. I don't believe that 100 Thieves can play a slow macro-style game against this team and come out on top. So, bringing out the Xayah Rakan, bringing out the Nocturne, the Lissandra, so much dive, so much engage for them to be able to target someone like Jackie Love. If you can get that perfect initiation and take him down, you will have a chance to win the game. But I mean, Jackie Love taking the cleanse is also a very intelligent move and a nod towards that.
Yeah, and the problem that I have with that is, and I agree with you to an extent, but I think that when you play against a team that plays that way naturally, and this isn't your natural tendency, which it isn't for the 100 Thieves, they are more of a scale up into the late game team, then you are at risk of trying to do something against a team that just does it better than you. And if this game does not go well in laning phase, if Shy is able to build any of that lead, if Jackie Love gets even an early kill, this game feels very difficult for them to come back through just from draft.
I agree. It's up to 100 Thieves to have the practice kind of coming through from scrims. Maybe they got some good games in, and though they've not shown that style a lot throughout the year, they're much normally a consistent team fighting, late game sort of team. Maybe they can find something explosive here. I think Anda's actually had a pretty good World Tournament for himself, and we'll see if he can make sort of that difference and find those dives into the back line.
It'll be pretty interesting to see where Ning makes his first appearance as well here on the Predator Gragas, as there is a lot of gank assists kind of across the board here. In the mid lane, in the bot lane with the Leona and the Ryze, there's a lot of setup for this Gragas, and it is certainly something where they could make an early aggressive play, and Rookie already kind of asserting dominance here in the mid lane against Ryu, and he's also going Biscuits, so he is going to be able to have the additional sustain and perhaps secure himself an early advantage.
Yeah, I think the reason for the Biscuits is he hasn't gone teleport, aware of the lockdown CC, so he has also paid the cleanse tax. That means he's not going to be able to TP back into lane for maybe an earlier Dark Seal and then be able to just sit there and wait for the tier. Probably see that as a first item coming in. So I like the choice from Rookie. I do think that right now Ning has the world as his oyster. Bottom lane is up, double CS. Mid lane up, 18 CS at this stage of the game. He's just 8 CS, sorry. He's just doing a very good job of shadowing the bottom side of the map and just making sure that these lanes don't come under pressure, because Zion most probably is just going to push into the gangplank, and this will just be a farm fest.
Well, for now, at least the Shy is being denied some farm, but here comes that push on the bot lane. No farm any longer. A lot of damage and a half move flashes onto the turret, and that's Ryu with 5 HP, first blood. It took 4.5 minutes, and Rookie already took him down.
A beautiful solo kill there from Rookie. The dominance from this laner this early on to be able to take down Ryu. It's already looking a bit grim here as IG also setting up for a dive on the no flash Afro move here.
This is so likely to happen. Here we
Yeah.
go, 3 versus 2. The flash stun, they're gonna find one. Body slam is assured as the summoner heal's not gonna be enough. Rakara goes down, out both summoners.
They don't even go onto the flashless target. They just make sure they take down the 80 carry, deny even more CS away. This is a great start to the game by Invictus Gaming.
Really is, and just great execution from them, forcing out the summoners, committing on that dive. They already had a huge advantage in the bottom lane, and here's a solo kill one more time. Ryu had already been chunked out pretty low, and Rookie just decides to go for it.
Yeah, exactly right. And I do think it is important to point out the fact that Ryu had the counter pick in this matchup. This is Rookie blind picking Rise, someone that is good with gank assistance, but without an aggressive summoner spell, not really known for those 1v1s at level 5, and still able to pick up that kill. Just a classy player.
And it didn't even cost him a summoner at all, so not only does Ryu get solo killed, he loses his flash. Certainly is potential to attack that lane once more. From the side of Ning, who also didn't even have to commit his flash on the bottom side and has the Predator boots available.
And this is kind of the problem, you know, we keep complimenting Arnda, saying that he has had a fine world. People would be questioning that, you know, the early game going disaster as well. Actually, action top lane.
As the ult gets pushed in, but the Shy, not with an ultimate, can't trade back just yet, but Ning is not coming around for his second gank of the game. And that's Ando waiting around. They're going to see each other. Level 5 from both these junglers looking up towards Someday. And Ning has flash if he needs it. Predator's still on. Will he pull the trigger? So for the entrance, no, there's the body slam flash into the ult. Someday at 300 health now, and in a 1v2. When's the re-engage going to come across? The fear comes down. They get away from the slows, and Ning just threatening, but does not have the damage to kill as it gets shielded away by Someday.
Overall, 100 Thieves come out on top there. You know, it is the 2 flashes, the Predator blown, the Gangplank ultimate. So, you know, credit 200 Thieves. Anda is in the right place at the right time this time to be able to stop this. And
get more.
They're
Last
looking
plan
for Ning.
over. Flash listening. He's going to be feared for sure. As long as there's follow through, this will be a kill and 1 on the board for 100 Thieves. He's slowed and Anda gets the kill.
So that's a great collapse coming through from the 100 Thieves. You could see the IG actually looking for a rotation play.
Rookie 1v2, a lot of damage, but Ryu won't go down, burns the cleanse, and now Rookie might try to re-engage. EQ is almost enough to kill. As Ryu's getting a bit low, but now Anda walks in for the Fear. Spell Shield will turn off, though, and watch out for the damage. Fear's going to keep Rookie away. Will he go in for this one?
You can get this.
He might try. Realm Warp to separate. Anda's going to be on top of him. There's the damage output, and a 1v2 solo kill for Rookie.
He wants a bone.
Looks for more under the turret. 3-0 for Rookie. Run for dear life. A shutdown, I guess, goes to Ryu.
And this is why people are saying he's the best mid laner in the world. Rookie styles on the duo of 100 Thieves.
I'm making it look easy, the 1v2, chasing them down. Ryu is starting this fight at full health, but Rookie out of vision in that bush, chunks out about 2/3 of his health right off the bat, expends the cleanse, and just knows these guys do not have a lot of resources here. You see, waits out the spell shield, so that expires. Then the ultimate he can use to chase. He can use that to get Anda right here, knowing the spell shield is down. Still has the flash to go for Ryu.
It's just all the little things is actually gank back top lane.
And he's gone. You blinked, and he's out. 5-2, IG getting another one up in the top lane. A good gank there. Someday getting the punches in, but the Shy is just fine here.
It's getting ugly for 100 Thieves already. 8 minutes in, and IG is running amok on the map.
Yeah, they certainly are, and it's not like they don't have all that strong lanes. We've seen multiple times Syndra be picked into similar situations like this, just be able to farm up. Dire Rakan still one of the most powerful lanes in the game if you're just picking for a duo. And then Sion is the safest tank in the laning phase. Sure, they have a farm to 6 jungler, but Anda has been involved where he can be. This is just, you know, pound for pound. 100 Thieves not being able to stand up.
Yeah, certainly the case. And also, so much credit to Rookie. He gets the 1v1 outplay, which doesn't even cost him his summoner, takes Ryu's away, solo kill there, then on the roam gets a 1v2 because also of that advantage that he already accrued. So really playing an incredible game, and between him and Ning, they have been pressuring the map very well.
I gotta say, IG really is an incredible team. I know we've seen a lot of comments online. People question if 100 Thieves deserve to be here at Worlds, but they were the Spring Split finalists. Summer Split 4th place team. They brought TSM to 5 games in that 3rd place match series. And overall, 100 Thieves are a very good team domestically, but Invictus, for a lot of people, this is kind of their first time seeing this team on the world stage. IG really are this excellent. They have the best mid laner in the world, potentially the best top laner in the world if you count the Shy based on his best results here. Jackie Love, an insane rookie this year, an incredible player. This is an absolutely stacked lineup.
And it's not like they came from nowhere either, because Rookie's last game in Korea was an LCK title. before he came to this world. He was able to take down Samsung Blue, who had just eliminated the Samsung White lineup that went on to win Worlds that year. Obviously was knocked out by Najin and wasn't able to go to Worlds himself. Had a separate appearance on Invictus Gaming where he played with Kakao. But this is a guy that has been around for a very long time, was originally hailed, much like Kep, as a little bit of a baby faker, and now is showing his class. One of the most successful Korean pros to go to the LPL and really make it his region. You know, you add in very good talent like Jackie Love and the Shy, and it isn't a wonder of why this team is as good as they are. It's just whether they could play through all 3 lanes.
Yeah, I really want to give a lot of love and respect to Rookie. He's been, from what I can tell, loving living in China, learned Mandarin. He's essentially fluent here in this one. He does really, really well with the team. It's a well-coordinated squad. And he's, I think, done a great job activating to his new role in a new region and has continued to have a huge level of individual excellence.
He certainly has. And 100 Thieves, you know, in this game certainly are behind, but they do have Nocturne at 6 now. They do have the Warrior Enchant completed, and we're going to have to see if they can take any swings that are successful against IG here. You want to see Anda getting out with this Nocturne ultimate, perhaps pairing up with Aframu on the Recon Engage, or Ryu, someone who can guaranteed get some lockdown and trying to burst someone out. Because if they want to battle back into this game, they need to do it through that Nocturne ultimate. They need to do it through the hard engage that they have drafted. And they're looking for it now on the bot side.
Yeah, the problem is I just think they're on the wrong side of the map. I think that you should be trying to recall Afro move, sending him up into the top lane, try and take down the Shy, and then push through top lane turret. You're already down 30 CS. That is a completed Storm Razor already on Jackie Love. He's got himself a cleanse. He's just such a safe carry at this stage of the game.
Yeah, bursting Aftershock Leona, a little bit difficult. So we'll wait to see as the Nocturne does go back into his own jungle, and Ando's simply clearing Krugs now in this one. But yeah, you want to see that trigger pull. You want to see when Nocturne chooses to go in, how much the Shy can answer with the Gangplank Ultimate, with the Cannon Barrage. And we'll wait to see Ning this time around top side, so at least it does give more space for Thieves to work with, as they will soon know Gragas isn't here. But is some days numbered.
Because you can see that Ning is actually expecting a gank up here. Yeah. He's walking in as if it's a counter gank. He's expecting the Sion to ult down the lane, but you can see Anda still just clearing out his bottom side jungle.
Yeah, certainly is. And he was actually up here even before Anda's recall, where Anda was in the bush, Ning was there. They were both in a position where they wanted to counter gank, but not actually be the ones that start the fight out. If somebody gets chunked down much more, it's potential to go for a dive, but I really think in the position Ning is in, he's just looking, again, to be here to protect Shy so we can push in the wave, reset this, and continue to farm up on the gangplank. I mean, he has a call, he's working towards the Triforce, he's perfectly happy just farming it out.
Anda knows he's on a ward, walks through that control ward there, goes, nope, not gonna bother to kill that. Instead sitting around. I mean, he just walked by that thing, and Rookie gonna come right back to his own lane, but it does feel like Anda's wasting some time. With this all known, they should be playing safe on all these sides. They're gonna go for the play in the mid lane now. Cleanse gets popped, runs away. The fear is gonna land, but he's just way too fast. Out he goes with Phase Rush.
And once again, Rookie able to live through the gank, does have to burn both summoner spells, however, so there is always the repeat there. Nice proactive play out of 100 Thieves.
And it was a nice flash forward by Anda, but he's just too damn fast. With that Phase Rush proc, he just simply outruns the fear, gets away. So there's no way Anda can really cover that much distance going through the turret. And Ning now looking for a counterplay here, perhaps.
It seems unlikely with the wave gone. He's got to turn right back around. He wants to stay out of vision. Might have walked by some of that Scuttle Vision as well, as the bot lane's now being pushed in. And look how far back Ricard and Afro had to play. 30 CS down, turret being cracked. Gonna go for the play down to the bot side. Cleanse gets popped. They might have damage on a Jackie Love as Leona comes back in for a bit. Blade colors pop. Now Ning goes in. There's the body slam, the flash. Ricard at 5 health, and he's gonna go down as Ning makes that one happen. Now onto the turret. Afro is burning. He's gonna fall as well. 2-0 on the bot side.
Coming in.
He's joined in one trade kill. Look for a second as Sion slams into the squad, and 3 return kills come in for 100 Thieves.
The great initial play from IG, but the counter punch there to match this time as the 100 Thieves solo laners do get down there. The jungler comes in. It's 5 bot, 400 Thieves to turn this around, and they're pushing for first turret. Knowing that Rookie is also shoving out mid, they need to get something more down here.
Yeah, and because you're a gangplank at this stage of the game, not wanting to teleport to the play, we'll drop the ultimate now, but it's going to be very late. That's what I was going to say. Ultimate not used on the initial turret dive. No teleport out of the Shy, so have to question, I guess, the over-aggressive play here.
It seems like a little bit of disrespect, honestly, from IG, but they do set up the initial play very well. You can see the stun onto Ricard, denying any feathers to be set up and pulled through on Jackie Love, and then Ning in with the body slam flash. Ricard is essentially already dead coming out of the ultimate.
Yeah, and just a couple of damage miscalculations here. They thought Afro was going to go down. They thought Ning's initial barrel was going to be enough, had to drop the cast on top of it as well in the end. That meant that it just took too long. The rest of the collapses there from 100 Thieves members, and you know, this is a team that, whilst has been falling behind on an individual level, has still shown some glimpses of good team play.
Yeah, and you can say, at least for them today, against Fnatic, against IG now, they are striving to make that play. And we're going to see Aftermove very likely go down, maybe get out.
Okay, as slow as there now, he's got to hold the front line. After a nice escape, of course, Drake picked up no problem by Ning, and there will not be a re-engage, so no casualties for 100 Thieves. But map control, of course, still going to the LPL squad in IG.
And we'll see now what they do with it, because they are starting to group, and this is my concern with the comps. You know, you have a look at what 100 Thieves want to do. They want to be able to play around their ultimates, but I think if Invictus see that they want to brawl, they're probably not going to play away from that play style. So 100 Thieves now get that opportunity whilst being eliminated from Worlds to show that they can go toe-to-toe with some of the best team fighters. And whilst they are slightly behind in gold, about 2,000 at this stage of the game, there is still those windows where they can look for their picks.
Yeah, there certainly are, but you have to remember, Gangplank now on the Triforce means it's almost impossible for Sion to continue that pressure. The wave clear just becomes too strong at that point of the game. The cull has been cashed out, so Shy certainly sitting pretty as far as the gold is concerned. And 100 Thieves are trying to make a three-man play up to top side, but I believe they are aware of this. Yeah, spotted out on the ward, so IG is in position.
You're going to have a 2v3 if they want to go for the dive. Leona waiting around nearby enough as she flash cones or hex flashes over the wall. I think it was the latter. And there's a Silica on the bot lane as Rookie is setting up this sort of a 1-3-1. No one's answered just yet. Lissandra slowly on the way. The Shy wave clearing, losing a bit of turret health, but it's still at 2/3, so top lane's not in too much danger. We have a 3,000 gold difference as IG hold the lead onto this one. 4-0. Look at their 5th win, and they are likely to here against 100 Thieves.
And I really do like IG sending Rookie down to the bottom lane now. He's at such a strong position in the game with that Seraphs, with the Merc Treads. You know, he's 3-1. He's heavily ahead in farm as well, and no one really can answer him in that 1v1 right now, so he's going to be able to create a lot of pressure and also buy time for the Shy and Jackie Love to kind of continue that farm and look to scale up.
And he can just be the pressure point in the map. I mean, he's 50 CS up right now. He goes back, gets the makings of a Banshee's Veil as well. So even in a 2v1 situation with cleanse with Banshees, that is a very hard target to take down. We were talking yesterday, the fact that Lissandra does do a lot of damage, but very reliant on all of her abilities hitting to be able to do so. Just being able to mitigate one of those will mean that Rookie can just kite them out.
Very, very likely. Neither of these assassins, if you want to call Lissandra and Nocturne, that have the burst to kill any of these IG backliners. You can hope, for the 100 Thieves' sake, that 2 of them can combine for it. That's going to require people being separated and the defensive tools not being out there. So let's see what happens as we still look at this 3,000 gold or 2,500 gold difference. Maybe closer than many would have expected. 18 minutes into this game, the 1-300 Thieves versus the 4-0, probably best early game team in China, IG.
Yeah, I think certainly closer, especially than you expect after watching the first couple minutes of this game, where there's a solo kill into 2 more and a 1v2 for Rookie. 100 Thieves has found their chances, and in they go.
They're going to dive in for the back line. It's going to be already after deleted, and another Zonia's pop. This is very low health bars for 100 Thieves. They're going to try, though. Ricard answers one, but in goes Jackie Love, and it's already 3 kills picked up as the slaughter might just continue. Right on top of Ricard, not going to get the root. The blade color not going to matter. A double kill for Jackie Love, but it's only Someday running out.
And once again, if 100 Thieves want to fight, I feel like Invictus Gaming will welcome the brawl. You can see the Shy still chasing down the tankiest member, trying to get Rookie on the flank as well.
And now Rookie jumps over the wall, and Someday we can slowly cast as he dies. The mid lane's already under fire. That turret is going down. Someday is ultless. He has a flash. He's going to pop it here. And at least he survives, but 4 for maybe 1. And the turret going down is obviously an IG win.
And good for you Someday. Like, don't let them chase you around. Don't let them pick on you.
Yeah, the moral victory in this replay presented by Acer Predator as 100 Thieves, they're the ones picking the engage. You think it might start off well, but Aframu just gets exploded and down to almost no HP immediately, and the damage dealers just get lit up.
Honestly, that was the best fight they probably could have looked for. Lissandra got into the back line, got her ult onto a priority target. Maybe the wrong one, because actually they both had cleanse available, so who cares? Would have been the exact same result. Damage still came out in spades, but when you're this far ahead already, you know, you're talking about half an item to an item ahead in every single role. It becomes very difficult to team fight.
And also when you're grouped up that heavily, the GP ultimate got a lot of value, as you can see in this team fight. And again, now looking for Ryu here.
Takes as much as he
Ooh,
can.
nice
Ult
ult.
to stop the explosive cast, but he is 1 versus 3. Solar Flare is going to try to get out, and Ryu does not melt today. True Ice strong enough.
Well played there by Ryu to escape, but it isn't much for 100 Thieves. They need to get something going in this game, it feels like, and they want to try to set up for more additional picks, perhaps looking the way of Rookie, knowing his summoners are down.
Well, looking at this one now as he's going to be jumped on by 3. Kites to the side, not going to matter. Afro somehow nabs the kill, and at least little bits are going for 100 Thieves, but they're working back a 5,000 gold deficit.
Yeah, and that's really nice play because you can see both the waves are pushed out so far. Now Someday goes back to mid lane, going to be able to collect that farm. So they made a pick, and they also didn't lose farm elsewhere on the map. No turrets fall down, so that's a net positive play for 100 Thieves. They got to keep looking for those windows if they want to battle their way back in.
They definitely do, but I mean, for IG now, with Gangplank on 2 items and Rise on 2 items, it really does feel like the 1-3-1 starts to really come online. It's going to be hard for 100 Thieves to have one-man answer on either side, and IG can really start to look to peel this map apart.
That is why Nocturne has become such a prize pick at this world. So protects 1-3-1 incredibly well, but it also is great in 1-3-1. Tahm Kench is on a similar vein. These champions that have flexibility on both sides of these kind of compositions just have become, you know, accelerated in priority. And I think that the fact that Ander has had a fine game, that he's sitting on the lethality item there in the serrated deck, going towards probably a Dark Blade, means that after the next item, he can probably take down both squishy sides of the 1-3-1.
Yeah, and then you have to kind of look towards Ning and seeing how well he's going to be able to do and actually shadowing these side laners, anticipating where Anda is going to show up, and also how good at IG or how good they are at getting something on the other side of the map. Wherever Anda attacks, they want to attack elsewhere.
That's what it looks like when you have pressure in pretty much every single lane you could be in. All of the members are doing quite well in gold or XP or farm or all the above. Level leads in both the mid and bottom lane. +2 in mid. Rookie is massively ahead of Ryu here.
You've also got to love seeing a double Infernal on the side of IG with this much damage in the tank here. It is GP, Rise, and the Kaisa, as well as some AP coming out here from Ning.
Doesn't suck there. He's got that Runic Echoes in this, and we'll wait for the next big play in this game. As just simply the Drake was picked up without contest. Baron being up now means that's probably the next objective to fall outside of a turret if one of these outers can drop. Someday playing catch up though and collecting what waves you can. We simply look for that next big aggressive play out of most likely Invictus, but 100 Thieves might try.
And you can see that Invictus walk towards mid lane, they group, and now they're trying to decide lane assignment. So Rookie most likely going to match into the Scion, has probably better wave clear at this stage if he is able to get free access to that wave. Also, given the fact that Scion's built primarily armor, he at least can kill the guy after some time. Whereas you can see right now the Shy going towards the bottom side of the map. Also the fact that Rookie's not running teleport this game, pretty big deal in that regard. So I think that if they can get Scion back into the Shy and just try and bounce Rookie's wave as much as possible, collected a turret with multiple members, shove it back out, there are ways to still stall out this game. And the gold lead isn't as such that without a main tank, you can just take Baron at will. Still going to be a team fight around that objective.
So wait for that team fight. Looking at the gold incomes here. Yeah, that's a lot. 2.3 thousand for Gangplank. Some of that printed for free, but other than the jungle, down the line, richer members on Invictus. And came in partway through the split, replacing Meadows on Thieves. Honestly, did pretty well. I think he's also looked pretty decent on the world stage, which is saying a lot, considering there's been some really good junglers in his group. I'm actually overall impressed with him on the year. I'm sure we'll see more of him in 2019.
I want to talk about Ning's build a little bit. I thought we would see this build a lot more coming into Worlds. As actually,
Ryu's gonna face check and with you. There's Cleanse being popped, the stun on top of it, and they're gonna die picking up Jackie Love, and they'll find his lane mid as well. The double kill in for Anda himself.
They may try to go for more here. They're around the Baron. They're on a Rookie.
5 versus 3. Rookie can cut away pretty cleanly now, and it's up to the Shy. Going back and forth. Now, what will 100 Thieves do with the numbers advantage? Looking in, the Shy's gonna jump away and not be knocked up just yet. But will they turn in for Baron? Keep in mind, Ning is alive, but Someday's gonna find himself the slow. The giant knockup not gonna be found. His bell on the slam.
Oh
into the
my
backside.
God!
It's a double double kill for Rookie, and will it be more? The third, looking for the fourth. They're trying to run away, and poor Someday can only walk. That flash not gonna go too far. Not gonna be an easy answer. Body slam again. In a 3 versus 5, IG find 4 kills.
And a genuine 3v5, just able to take the team fight. They were sitting there kind of debating back and forth, but with the amount of ults used initially, Invictus take the fight.
And they're onto the Baron now. They're going to be starting this up, and it should be an IG Baron. And what a team fight it was. Ning and the Shy and Rookie able to find the combo, which looked like a barrel chain, as well as that flash engage from Ning, exploding the 100 Thieves members.
And what I was going to mention is that we'd seen way more AP gangplank picked up in solo queue. And sometimes when you see solo queue builds, it is just for a little bit of fun, for a little bit of de-stress, but I was pretty confident in this one. We see the setup. This is very similar to the Blabber setup that he got flamed for. Instead, this time goes over the wall in Fog of War and gets the start of the fight they need.
I mean, it was a beautiful start to the fight. They force out the cleanse, immediate follow-up to actually find it, but the engage onto Rookie is never very clean. They're not able to catch any roots or real CC on the Shy here either, as he retreats and flashes out on the top side. And then 100 Thieves, as they chase over to Rookie, they corral themselves, and look at the barrel chain, I do believe, here from the Shy, as well as the engage from Ning comes in, the barrel chain goes off, Rookie over the wall, and what an incredible combo.
And that was Rookie missing a Q. If that last Q had a bounce as well, it would have been even quicker there. So you can see that this is a very potent comp this far ahead. And so much of it just generated off over-aggression potentially from a
God. Gangplank almost outdamaged 100 Thieves by himself.
That Gragas, that's a jungle Gragas,
Yeah.
just did 4,000 damage.
There was a Predator body slam hitting like 4 or 5 people into the ult. That's enough AP to matter. Big stuff, and of course now IG knocking on the door, hoping to knock down the entire base here. Up 10,000 gold, Baron buff on, inhibitor turret just not gonna be answered. They might try, but it would be suicide, you have to believe. As slowly but surely the turret gets chipped away, and the new wave comes in for reinforcements.
And this is an area where KT, but a lot of the LPL teams have impressed me as they actually land a barrel.
Ricard has to choose when to ult, looking for crowd control, not gonna pull that trigger just yet. And actually late, but Explosive Gas didn't hit, so he's gonna be all right. And now on to the Nexus turrets. IG looking to be 5-0. They move the wave to the mid lane. They say the Nexus turret's not ready just yet, but mid lane's certain to fall here.
This is just beautiful play from IG, really showing you how to snowball a game here.
Maria's gonna get the self-ult. They're gonna try one last time. 100 Thieves trying to get the kill. Onto the back line they go. They almost have the damage, but they're still surviving. The kiting away. Finally, Jackie Love will fall. It's a 4v4 to keep going for this one. Maybe something looks good as Baolan is pretty injured, and the team kites out to the base gate. But Sunday down to 400. Ricard down to even less than that. Just survives with the shields, but it's 3v4, and Rookie wants in. Gets knocked up, though, and bites off more than he can chew. In the 3v3, it will be inhibitor, and now I think IG might not get more, but they are still trying. They're going maybe for the Nexus turrets. The Baolan walks backwards, and IG will live.
Yeah, I think they're having a little bit of fun on this one, trying to run through 3 members to kill Ricard and a turret there at about 20% HP. Rookie running it down on that one, but IG certainly in full control.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I was going to say, this kind of setup is what has impressed me about KT and, RNG. When they have these leads, they know how far they can push. They take down the turret, they nearly take out Ricard, as you mentioned, Freak, late ultimate there. And this is just actually a crafty play from Rookie. Puts the whole creep wave in, takes it to the mid lane turret, continues the play.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Rotate those Baron minions over, knock down that second inhibitor turret, and then IG just want to brawl. They're looking for the fights, and it is a good self-ult there from Ryu. A lot spent on him, but they slightly miss out on the CC chain. The Leon ultimate a little bit too late, and the fight explodes.
And you can see why they were confident in this comp. They got access to the backline. Flash was available. They were able to tie the Kai'Sa down. They blow him up. Sure, the rest of the gold lead's still too much, but in theory, if this was a more equal game, which obviously it isn't, that doesn't look so bad, but there is such thing as a gold lead team fight, and I think we just looked at one.
We did, and it's going to continue. 13,000 now the lead. It actually got bigger since last time, despite the couple of shutdowns coming through.
I mean, the Shy is 6,000 gold ahead individually. Like, that is just absurd. He hits one barrel on Ricard. Ricard goes back to base. Ricard comes out, gets hit by a barrel, go back to base, bud. It is just so much damage coming out of these members at this point in the game. I mean, you have two in pieces for Rikara. This is almost a full build GP.
They're going to try one more time. Sign him to the backline. Look at the big knockouts. Once again, 100 Thieves want the assassination, but Shy solo kills out the backline. But it's been a trade of 80 carries. So the 4v4 continues as the first revive comes through, but Ryu is already gone. 4v3 the chase in. Baolang going to fight against Afro, but Afro's over the wall. Still the kills coming through fast and furious. IG knocked down everyone except that zombie and except Afromu. And so those two will do battle, and it's not going to mean very much as no courage for Afro, gonna retreat away. It doesn't matter though. IG gonna be 5-0. We know the base is gonna fall. Baolan versus Afro, maybe a close fight on this one, but it's certainly the Nexus dropping. 1 in 400 Thieves. The best they can do is battle to hold on to third place. IG undefeated coming into the last game of the group stage.
And that is a very confident game from IG. They bring in the Shy, they play a carry, they generate a 6,000 gold lead in the top lane against 100 Thieves' best performing member in Someday, and send a message to Fnatic that they are very much looking forward to the rematch.
Yep, IG is coming, and that is going to be an insane battle at the end of the day. But 100 Thieves certainly, they tried to make some plays. You know, they tried to be proactive in this game, but IG outperformed them individually, out-team fought them, out-executed them. They were the better team certainly here today. And 100 Thieves will fall down once more and now have to look towards that one last game to try to pick up a second win.
But I do think that as 100 Thieves, you know, you made some changes to your roster mid-split 2. And I think that those changes have started to bear some fruit. Ander especially this tournament has looked pretty good. I think that Rikara has been a little bit more of, you know, that 50-50 at times and hasn't had the tournament that he would have liked. And I'm sure they'll go away, they'll look at those changes and they'll redefine what they need to do next year, because for a first-year organization, making it this far at Worlds and having some of the individual displays they have had is certainly a positive.
100 Thieves as an org making Worlds first year is a good run. As they know, though, at Worlds is very difficult. Either way, for a breakdown on that Invictus Gaming victory, let's hand it back over to the analysts.
Thank you very much, Freak. Another very dominant game coming out of this group as IG picks up a win against 100 Thieves. I don't want to dwell on this match too long, as again, most of our focus is on that final match of the day. What I do want to take a look at from this game, though, is our MasterCard player of the game in Rookie. We keep saying it. He's the best mid laner in this tournament, and he puts it on display once again here.
Yeah, and the Shy definitely ran away with this game at the end, but I think Rookie was running away with it at the start. A level 5 solo kill without even having to burn his own flash. He then catches some people in the river.
2 more solo kills.
Catches some people in the river. There's 2 of them, and he actually gets his second and third solo kill in the first 8 minutes of the game.
Absolute insanity.
And then he was just having fun. Because I think if you're a rookie and you're so good and you play against this and these guys, it's like trying to 2v1 you down, but they didn't really commit to it and you just end up getting 3 kills in the early game.
Yeah.
It feels pretty great, but almost too easy.
And don't feel bad, 100 Thieves fans. Rookie's been doing this to LPL teams all season long. So it's not just you guys.
You can feel a little bit bad.
You can feel a little bit bad.
I feel a little bad. Anyway, as you mentioned, he wasn't the only top performer on the team in this game. The Shy also had a very nice showing on that gangplank up in the top lane against Someday Scion. And similar to the discussion we had around the Fnatic top laners, so as Blippo, I want to talk about the differences between the Shy and Duke. And once again, who might we see or who might be better suited to taking down Fnatic in the final game of the day?
It almost feels like at this point that Invictus Gaming believe that Duke is better suited for it. But the difference has always been carry versus tank, team play versus individual 1v1 prowess. Now, Duke and the Shy play virtually the same exact champions at this point. Like, Duke is the gangplank player, but you just saw the Shy pull out the gangplank and have an incredible performance on that. So it's no longer just about the champion pool, but it is about that team dynamic. You know, when the Shy is on the map, it's much more about him playing in a side lane or playing a 1v1, whereas Duke's there, they'll tend to group a bit more around Jackie Love, play around those big, lumbering 5v5s.
And I think if Jackie Love had played a poor group stage, I think we would have seen a lot more of the Shy. It's actually been Duke they used against Fnatic last time. We don't know yet who they're using, but they've been able to rely a lot on the bot lane, especially with the Kai'Sa pick that we mentioned before the game started, has been really favored by players like Jackie-Love.
And I do want to quickly point at the Duke's top 3 picks for summer, and he's 100% on that Gnar pick. So again, it's shifting away from this idea of one's just a tank player, one's just a carry player. Duke can do it, which again builds into that diversity for Invictus Gaming, that now they have a guy where they can play around Jackie-Love who's performing, they can play the team fights, but if you give him a carry, he can pop off on the champion.
Yeah, and I think that's so interesting because if you were asking me this question near the end of Spring Split, the Shy was 32 wins and 2 losses in game score in the spring. He looked like maybe the best top laner in the world. Then he suffered an injury and Duke started getting more time. And I do feel like what Frost said, Duke might be the better fit for them in this tournament because I don't think the Shy is quite as great as he was in the spring. I think he still has the potential to be there, but I think it's close, and therefore you take the guy that has more experience team fighting on tanks, and you take the guy with a world championship, who is Duke.
But I want to ask your opinion on this one, Frosk. LPL final, it was the Shy who started and played a lot of those games. Why was that not Duke then if it was actually the final itself?
It could have been a discussion about Letme's performance. We saw that RNG Letme was the first guy who kind of really fell down and started having a questionable performance or was very suspect of, across from people like Licorice. And so maybe Invictus Gaming had the exact same read that Cloud9 did. You know, let's play the carry-oriented 1v1 top laner with a higher mechanical ceiling and then just try to have the breaking point there versus the 5v5. Like, why would you ever want to take the 5v5, rely on Jackie-Love into RNG?
I do just want to point out that I really like the fact that we can have these discussions. I feel like this is the first year where so many teams have used these substitutes. Like previously there was the top 5, and then if one guy was really sucking, you'd put the other one in. But now it's a lot of who is better, exactly what do they bring, and I think teams have really found ways to embrace that 6th player.
And we're seeing it across multiple roles, right? The first role we really saw substitutions getting used was the jungle position, and that makes a lot of sense just from a strategic standpoint because you have more agency in the early game of how to affect the map. But here now we're seeing it in the top lane, we're seeing it in other lanes as well.
Yeah, and it's also because the meta is so diverse at the moment. Like, if it was only tanks in the top lane, there wouldn't really be a whole lot of reasons to run the more carry-focused top laners. And the same thing can be said for other roles. You know, down in the AD carry role, we have seen so many different picks at this point. So because there are a lot of different champs you can go for, you're not actually giving too many things away when you sub in the carry guy. Because if it is a tank meta, he's probably going to pick a Riven or something, and you should just ban that away, and he's suddenly stuck on a Maokai. It doesn't happen now.
We're talking a lot about how the decision is might largely be made based on how the team thinks either of these top laners fits within their own strategy. Do you feel like either one of them is better suited against Blippo or Soaz?
I personally feel like it should be the Shy, just because if it's Soaz, which I predict that Fnatic should play because it feels like they rely on him in big games, that again, you can try to get the carry versus tank matchup and break that side of the map. Fnatic have shown that they're great at playing with 2 carries, but Invictus Gaming, I think, need to hit the early game as hard as possible and play with 3 carries.
I'm expecting, if it is Soaz, something like a Cyan pick, and then it gets a little bit harder, but you can, of course, pick a carry against it. Duke, to me, seems like the safer option because Jackie-Love, as IG, I would trust that he can out-carry Reckless in the late game. So I would go Duke as just for safety in a best of 1 and play more around Rookie and Jackie-Love.
Of course, they will make those submissions blind, so they don't have the opportunity to necessarily respond to who the other team subs in. We are stepping away. When we return, it's 100 Thieves versus GRX competing in the last game of the tournament.
Don't pop those hand warmers.
Me?
I saw those like yesterday on stream.
Oh no.
Andy
Exploded.
The one thing he said not to do.
That push in the bot lane, no farm any longer. A lot of damage in the after move, flashes on the turret. And that's Rhea with 5 HP, first blood. On top of him, there's the damage output and a 1v2 solo kill for Rookie.
wants a bone.
Looks for more under the turret.
I got him.
Keep flying.
No pass on anybody, no pass on anybody.
Coming behind. Go Gragas.
Nice.
Come up.
Nice.
Nice.
They're gonna dive in for the back line, and it's gonna be already after deleted. And another Zhonya's pop. This is very low health bars. 100 Thieves are gonna try though. Ricard answers one, but in goes Jackie-Love. Gonna be found his bell on the slam. Into the backside. It's a double kill for Rookie. And will it be more? The third, looking for the 4th. IG undefeated coming into the last game of the group stage.
What's up, and welcome back to Level Up, presented by State Farm. A turret's damage can sometimes power up in a dramatic way, So this week, we're giving you the rundown on turret ramp-up as of the World Patch. Turrets increase in damage when they strike an enemy champion. Each shot increases in damage by 40% to a maximum 220% damage. That means it only takes 3 shots to bring a turret to its fullest potential. Only multiple shots on minions lower the damage a turret does, so when coordinating a dive, be mindful of when the structure is fully charged, and you'll pick up kills without giving any over.
Thank you very much, Sharks. Welcome back. Fnatic and GRX are setting up. I love that. If we're going to give up one loss, it's going to be to 100 Thieves. I think a little bit of a troller response, obviously meaning he doesn't want to lose to Fnatic. Is that all right?
It makes sense from the standings because if they lose to Fnatic, then they would have to play a tiebreaker. If they lose to 100 Thieves and beat Fnatic, then they still get first.
Well, there we go. That's the plan. As we're getting set up for the third game of the day, Fnatic will be playing their second, as will GRX. Bwipo is in, Soaz is out, Bebe is in, Empty is out. So substitutions on both rosters. We will be able to get some Bwipo faces on camera, and he had a fantastic performance. The last time they played, GRX attempted to dive top, and Bwipo almost outplayed them 1v2.
So I think one of the values of bringing both Bwipo and Bebe in is obviously the quarterfinal spots have been locked in. The whole point of this game for Fnatic is that they want to maintain a solid record. They need all their wins if they want to have that tiebreaker against Invictus Gaming. And for GRX, they obviously want to go out with a bang. So giving in more of their players that stage time, giving them that valuable experience is good. But also I think it's good to get Bwipo warmed up because who they decide to use for the Invictus Gaming match is still up for debate. And depending on what style they want to go for, whether they want the more aggressive Bwipo or more of the stable, solid rock that is Soaz, will heavily depend on how they play in these early matchups.
We are getting ready for picks and bans, and Fnatic are on the blue side. Bwipo is just getting himself into the zone. So, Vedius, what would you like to see out of the team? Brox is Lee Sin. He went 7-0-8 the last time he played GRX. We talked about it. I talked about it excessively at the top of the day. What would you like to see from Fnatic coming up against GRX?
So, I would actually like to see Bwipo put on a big carry. Not in the sense of, like, you know, one of these off-tanks like Aatrox or Urgot. I want to see him on something like an Aurelia or an Akali. And I want to see them leverage one of the advantages that Blue Side has, which is some of these flex picks in Akali, Aurelia. Just because if Bwipo is that aggressive playmaker, and someone you can rely on to be a carry, then let's prove it. Let's see what he's capable of in this game, where you can get him warming up and what he's truly capable of.
I was going to say a similar thing, but with different words here. Attack PK. He just got demolished by Duke in the Aatrox Urgot matchup, and Broxa has been very effective in the early game. So let's see. Even with the jungle switch here, though, you know, Bebe now in for GRX. They talked a little bit about they used him a lot in summer, and during that time, he was the better mechanical player. He was quicker with the key presses, literally. So we'll see if he can bring that here to the stage. He hasn't had the same success on the world stage as he had in the LMS, though.
And of course, now with absolutely no pressure and only the ability to play spoiler, is this the time that GRX can cause the upset? Take a look to the bans. Thresh, Alistair, Urgot, Akali, Siva, as well as Aatrox. That means yet another Irelia blind pick, but it does fit that narrative we've talked about. It is a flex option if Bwipo wants to take it, and the Lovers duo, Zion Rakan, locked in for GRX.
Now this brings into question, does Hylissang play Leona? Or would he choose to go for more of a comfort pick and Pike? Now, the thing about Rakan is that I feel you could play both, and we're actually yet to see Hylissang bring out his fabled Pike. But instead, he's going to go for more of the defensive option. Maybe he wants to hold the cards closer to his chest.
Door number 3 is going to be the man who holds the door, Braum here for Fnatic, and it is going to back up. Of course, we glossed over the first pick, Aurelia for Fnatic for Caps. Again, around this guy in the mid lane. He's gone for dives. He always goes for the early kill. And that could still be a possibility in this game going up against Candy. Second one rounded out here, though, with the Ezreal for Reckless. That will give him, you know, the Mystic Shock poke, of course, trying to stay back until he can get his first recall.
And so with the LeBlanc locked in for Candy, this kind of puts Fnatic in a situation where if they want to draft the Aurelia, I don't think this is the worst matchup. I think it's a bit of a skill matchup between the two mid laners. But alternatively, in the event that that Aurelia is topside, LeBlanc is considered a pretty safe blind, and you'll see that with the Lissandra ban coming in as well, they're saying, all right, Fnatic, if you want to pick something else, I feel we're actually going to have a pretty solid matchup going for this blind LeBlanc.
Meanwhile, for GRX, what we said in their last game, so much about Stitch, so much about trying to get some carry opportunities here for them early and from around the bottom lane. This is definitely a great duo for them to go with. You know, Rakan, increased playmaking ability with the Xayah, and they have to respect the level 2. So much damage output you can, get with that combo. That's why Fnatic, I think, have drafted such a safe bottom lane here. Ezreal and Braum, a lot of mobility even early in the game.
And let's see where the junglers decide to go. With the Lee Sin, the Camille, the Nocturne taken off the table. We've seen Xin Zhao actually featured in the ban pool fairly heavily and will not be locked in just yet. Going to be securing that safe top laner in Sion once more, and that will be secured for PK. So now Fnatic have to tell us, where does this Irelia go and what will Broxah be running in the jungle?
Well, he can already tell you what he's running in the jungle, Trevor. That's going to be the Xin Zhao. The very early game focused compositions from both sides. Fnatic more than happy to grab that one for themselves. A couple of cheeky hovers there from Hylissang as he runs through some potential options. And we still don't know whether or not this Aurelia is mid or top. You would expect it to be in the mid lane, and they could round their draft out with an Ornn. Offers a little bit of engage for the composition and is something that Bwipo would play a lot of during the regular season.
And it was the same champion that he used the last time they played. Instead, it is the Swain, still technically the swap. So Kobe, who's going to call the bluff here on the side of GRX?
Ooh! What's your bluff that you're talking about? I see no bluff. I think it's going to be the Swain here for Caps in the mid lane into the LeBlanc. Try and build up some defenses there. As long as you don't get bursted down, Swain has huge zoning for the team fights. But more exciting, we got a Nidalee in the game. This champion can clear so quickly if you get an early lead. So we'll see if Bebe now subbing in for GRX can try and get them their first win on the board.
Now, one of the cool things I love about Nidalee is her ability to get into the enemy jungle, steal away their camps, and then get out extremely quickly. The only way she can do that, though, is if she has pressure in the lanes. And given that they've drafted a LeBlanc, they've drafted a Xayah Rakan, you would expect that, especially towards the bottom side of the map, GRX would be in a comfortable position to allow Bebe to get those invades. But when we wanted to see Empty being aggressive, he got shut down. So the question is, will Bebe have a more healthy, fun, not dying early game compared to his jungle counterpart from IG?
Meanwhile, the Swain was switched with Aurelia, so Caps once again will be taking that Aurelia into the mid lane, looking for the heads up versus LeBlanc. See which one of those two can get the early kill. Both, of course, will take Ignite and look to fight.
So you're saying they did call their bluff in the other hand then?
I don't think it was a bluff.
Well, let's see how this early game plays out. We had high expectations for GRX in the previous game against Invictus, and it did not go as expected. And of course, for Fnatic, they really styled on GRX the last time these two teams played. Fnatic are confirmed for the quarterfinals. The question is, what seed and in what manner will the European representatives head to the playoffs? Let's take a look at how this early game starts off. Kleptomancy for Bwipo and Reckless, both starting with their teleports. And that's a little bit of a nuance that I'm not used to seeing.
I mean, Bwipo, he played so many mages for Fnatic in the regular season going bottom lane. He runs right out of the gate through the bottom lane this time around.
That's the ultimate bluff, Trevor. It turns out Bwipo's bot lane, Reckless in the top lane. Fnatic going crazy.
Solo lane, Ezreal to the top. No, okay. So he is probably just setting up here as a level 1. You know, they're fishing around for possible plays from GRX. I like that because level 1s have had pretty big impact.
Oh, yeah.
In group stage here, best of ones when you're looking for those upset possibilities. And so they're just kind of checking all their bases. Of course, the Swain with Kleptomancy, very good into the Sion as you can get your damage off through the minion wave as well as getting your auto attacks down at the same time to farm up, get as much value out of your Kleptomancy on that melee champion as possible. Sion, of course, once the E was gutted, the shout relies a lot more on Q-Max, trying to hit that channel and go for those AoEs.
So I'm keeping my eyes on where the junglers are starting. We'll see that For Bebe and PK, they're starting up towards the top side of the map, whereas Broxer is doing a solo clear down towards the bot. Now, this is important for Reckless and Hylissang because against Desire Rakan, this is a difficult matchup. They want to get to the lane as soon as possible, but of course, Stitch and Koala don't have to pull either. So that lane will be pretty neutral as actually Reckless gets that early push. But keep your eyes on which direction Bebe chooses to go for, because he's actually moving up towards the Krugs, a jungle path that we've been seeing a lot more junglers take recently, whereas Broxer, he's going straight to mid.
Well, there we go. Early flash already at level 1 to get out of the duet.
Yeah, they saw Broxa on this pixel ward right here in the river. However, they had just used Candy's distortion in a trade with Caps, so that's an early flash in this assassin matchup. Could easily be tilted the other way. Bebe now walking to top scuttle, also revealed, and they will have tracking on him for the time being.
All right, so splitting the map thus far. Brox is going to get that Sentinel as Bebe just starts. Going to trade the Gromp as well. And then we're going to take a look at how the lane setup continues to play out. Caps always on the aggressive, always playing on the front foot. But if we check down the bottom lane, Reckless and Hilly, they're pushing into Stitch and Koala for the time being, although it looks like it's bouncing back.
Exactly. I like this ability for Fnatic to force the map split. When you invade with your jungler to the enemy blue side like this, you can cut off any sort of support for the bottom lane. So Fnatic taking the camps on the bottom half of the map here with Jin Zhao allows both Caps as well as their bottom lane with Reckless and Hylissang to have that security.
That's allowing them to play all the way forward. Take a quick glance at Bwipo and PK. They're trading for the time being. This is the half of the map where GRX have that little bit of an advantage. Bwipo is being pushed in, manages to get a lot of damage down with the Death's Hand. This is very close to a solo kill, but the minions are going to do so much work if Bwipo sticks around. Take a look for the javelin toss. Here comes Bebe. Can jump under the tower. Death's Hand and a tower shot helping out Bwipo. And PK was too low to stick around.
Yeah, Bwipo does still have his flash, so difficult to try and land a spear or anything. The only way you commit to that is if you know he's low enough to just go for the Q as far as the execute, and that is going to be enough to ward them off that possible dive.
So Bwipo is just going to reset, go back to base, TP back in. PK has just done that as well and picked himself up a health crystal, but he's already built himself up a pretty healthy early game lead. And you got to remember that as the Scion, you don't have a huge amount of wave clear, but thinking more about the draft, it was clear that Fnatic, they wanted that extra bit of AP damage. They wanted to have that threat on the other side, and that's why they locked in the Swain along with its flexibility. Now Fnatic's bot lane, they tried to go in, but Hylissang, he missed.
Yeah, cheeky usage of that melee minion all the way up front, using the stand behind me. Doesn't find the target, but I like what I'm seeing from Bebe already. In the previous game, there was some expectation and pressure on him to step up in the early stages of the game. And as GRX and Fnatic split the map for the first 5 minutes, Bebe now finds himself looking for a javelin toss onto Caps. There's vision provided by Candy, so could be like shooting fish in a barrel if Bebe can find the right target.
Yeah, Bebe sticking around behind the Raptor ward here. Broxa now does have vision on him. Pop the ward, though. It looks like they are going to go for the decent skirmish, rotating both supports through the river, but nobody committing.
Kobe, you can feel the tension building, but neither team willing to commit just yet. So playing patient, playing a little bit cautious, and Reckless is able to pick up that Sheen and use his teleport back into lane with a very advantageous start.
Exactly, they're trying to keep up the pressure here. They push the minion wave hard from the very beginning, using this teleport very quickly to make sure he has an item advantage. There's no way for Stitch to get similar combat power right now. They're forced to stick here and try and shove this lane out.
I completely agree with you, Kobe. And that's one of the advantages that you have of the TP, but of course the combat summoner of the heal will be much more valuable if they were to go for the all-in 2 versus 2, which you would imagine Reckless and Hylissang will want to avoid for the time being. But in terms of this early game, things have been relatively slow. No huge plays have been forced either side, and if we're looking at who you expect to make the more aggressive early game playmaking, it will be GRX. With the LeBlanc, with the Zyra Khan, especially when these level 6s come through, is when I want to see Bebe trying to force something with his lanes.
All right, I'll keep my eyes on his positioning. For the time being, he's up at the Krugs. And looking at the CS discrepancies, 8 or 9 advantage for Bwipo, around 10 for Reckless. And even in the mid lane, it is very, very close. But Bwipo's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Forced to throw down the ultimate, and now he's looking to escape. Looking to turn this around. The burst is available. available. The Soul's on there, flashing under the tower, unable to find the kill, but he doesn't get caught by the Javelin either. PK flashes to safety. Bwipo wins a 1v2.
Bwipo stands tall in that 1v2. Really wanted the explosion damage right there. Not close enough to finishing off either of them, but in the end, he also got the flash bottom lane.
Oh, Reckless gets knocked up into the air. There's no summon to heal, remember. They managed to pick up one before Stitch takes down Reckless. Defensive flash from Hylissang as Caps is looking for Stitch. It's a flashless bird, a flightless bird, a stunned up bird, and Caps will be able to pick this up. That's 3-1 in kills for Fnatic.
Very close right there. An extra minion is close enough, though. Hylissang doesn't take that tower shot. Fnatic do get the extra kill back from the rotation down bottom. Candy now, the straggler, looking to clean up.
Oh, let's see. What has he got? Flash and Ignite available. Needs to pick the right target. Dun, 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 dun. Hunting. Gonna come under the tower. 200 hit points, and Candy unfortunately picks the wrong target. His ultimate was on cooldown. Wasn't willing to commit the flash, and Hilly escapes with his life.
So we talked about Fnatic's bot lane not looking for an all-in, and honestly, this is just a big mistake from Reckless. He doesn't respect the positioning of the feathers. Hylissang is forced to do everything he can to keep him alive, and while they are able to get themselves first blood, it looks like Stitch is going to get 2 kills. Fortunately for them, Caps roams down, and while that's all going on, Brox is roaming up towards the top side of the map. He's like, oh, hello PK, you've got no flash, so you're going to die. He burns his summoner spells, he finds the execute, and Fnatic, 7 minutes in, find themselves 3 kills.
What a big, big change of events here. Huge early game now for Fnatic. Reckless, after that, getting back, purchasing his tier as well for the Ezreal, but top lane again, we've got more action.
All right, Visions of the Empire comes out. The Druid actually finds a stun, and that allows the Swain passive to pull PK backwards, but there's not enough damage just yet. It's a Negatron Cloak and Mercury Treads for Cap, so they decide not to go for the dive.
And while we had to talk a lot about what happened, we didn't get to properly appreciate the fact that Bwipo, in a 1 versus 2, was able to get away with his life.
Oh, I appreciated it.
I mean, but truly appreciate
Not just
the fact
get away with his life, make them run for their homes.
And that's all that bot lane practice that he had throughout the year. It was constantly the Swain Pike down at the duo.
I like it.
It was constant. So now Bwipo looking for another 1v1.
All right, let's see if we can do it this time round. Got that Demonic Ascension available. Here comes the Vision of the Empire. We're just following the rundown. Now, PK's got the ultimate. If he needs to get that extra burst of speed, Bwipo's going to step all the way forward, pulls him backwards to the passive, the burst, and the 1v1. And that's all his solo queue practice in top lane, helping him out in that regard,
It certainly is. Bwipo, he gets himself a solo kill, and this is the difference between him and Soaz. Soaz is the rock, the guy that is always consistent and will get through the laning phase and will be value later on into the game. Bwipo is the guy that will build leads himself, look to be a carry, and so far in this game, he's found some fantastic play.
Yeah, he really is, and now there's going to be another play set up in the mid lane. Candy will be able to get out of range of the lawnmower. Caps' Vanguard Hitch does not find a target. And just to sum it up, it is currently a 2,500 gold lead in favor of Fnatic, with a lot of it sitting inside Bwipo's hands.
Yeah, right now is a period of time where Xin Zhao is definitely more powerful than Nidalee. There's something with the construction of jungle items. The AP jungle item, Runic Echoes, does not have a lot of power until you complete the whole thing. Sitting on a mana crystal feels extremely bad. You don't get combat stats. Xin, meanwhile, you can get your hammer, your long swords, just fine. Pretty smooth build up to the completion. But once Nidalee does complete the Runic Echoes, it's an 80 ability power item. You get a lot from the completion, and they can then look to play more aggressive again. You'll have a lot more oomph to your spear hits, and can actually fight much better in 2v2 scenarios.
You can also see that Bebe hanging around the top side jungle. He has struggled so far this game to have much of an impact. He's doing pretty well in farms and in terms of levels, but as you say, Kobe, due to the early itemization, he's kind of afraid of going for any early skirmishes against that Xin Zhao. So GRX still looking for an opportunity back into the game. They're at a pretty significant early game deficit, just like they were against Invictus Gaming, but they do still have LeBlanc. They do still have Stitch on this Zyra Khan, and I would like to see now him invest some time to either the mid or the bot to get some kills back on the board.
And of course, while all those shenanigans were going on in the top lane, GRX were able to pick up that Infernal Drake, so it is important to point that out. If the game does go long, it will be beneficial, but it's such a difficult scenario once again when we've seen how confident and how dominant Fnatic have been with the lead.
And look how much magic resistance Caps is stacking here against that low block to deny the possibility of those kills. This is because he is facing not only an AP assassin opponent in the mid lane, but the jungler's AP as well. And that's one of the bad things about AP junglers. Here we go, though. We might have another fight on our hands.
Yeah, look at everybody waiting in the wings. GRX, look for the counter engage. Hylissang gets tagged by a javelin toss, but once Broxah shows his face and the teleport begins to channel, GRX realize they do not want this fight. Whippo's not done yet. He's won a 1v2. He's won a 1v1. Now is he going to go for the 1v3? Gets rooted up in place by Candy's change, and Fnatic they commit the teleport. They don't get anything else.
Whippo's like, I5 TPing down here to save you guys again. We're getting something off the back of it. So he's walking underneath the turret. The rest of Fnatic abandon him. He's like, fine. He has to now make his way back up towards the top side.
All right, Whippo's going to look for a fight yet. Got the ultimate available to him if PK decides to stick around, but he doesn't. Instead, the mid lane siege is where it's at. Broxah now fancies his chances in a 1v2, and he just obliterates Candy. There's that smooth item power spike you talked about. Vanguard's edge goes all the way in. Caps continues to dive. Hilly joins the fray. The stun onto Koala, and they steal away the life from GRX. That's a flash forward from Whippo. Demonic Ascension manages to miss. Not gonna find it with the vision of the Empire, and PK escapes with his life.
Go Speed Racer, go! PK barely able to outrange that one. Drives off into the sunset. That is still going to be such a big win for Fnatic, though. They are just winning fights all across the map at the same time right now. Every single skirmish seems to go in their favor. Even though GRX gets some gold back, it's never nearly as much here as what Fnatic are taking.
And let's have a look at how this all kicked off. Broxah, he sees a low health LeBlanc. He thinks, you know what, I think I can take this even in a 2 versus 1. Good use of the ultimate to create a gap, but the ignite was down, and I believe the red smite as well, and that was enough to secure the kill. Meanwhile, I mean, fortunately, Hylissang was there to help tank up the tower, and with the damage from the Aurelia, who had pretty much completed the Wit's End, you knew you had more than enough damage, and then here it is, the drift away. He walks away with his life.
Yep, that's not a whole lot more. Bebe and PK, they're now looking for a reply into Whippo. He's going to use that stopwatch that he picked up a lot earlier and buying as much time as possible. Broxah is making his way, waiting in the wings for a potential dive.
Yeah, GRX don't overcommit to that. As soon as the stopwatch is used, they saw Broxah coming up on the control ward, so they don't want to stick around to find out what's going to happen later in the even terms. That is a decent cooldown. You know, breaking the stopwatch is something for them because Whippo has just been running all over top lane.
Kobe, it's a 4,000 gold lead for Fnatic. Caps is looking potentially to extend that even further. But I actually asked the stats team to prepare the average 15-minute stats for Fnatic throughout the group stage so far. They've got 100% of the first turrets they've yet to do at this game. 4.4 KDA at 15, an average of 12 CSD, but the goal difference between their average in this game is even better. And Fnatic, they are setting themselves up for a very exciting rematch with IG later in the day.
And that's exactly what I wanted to follow up on, Trevor. Earlier in the day, we talked about how moving into today, the expectation was that it would be Fnatic and IG fighting for that top spot. And while last time IG got the better of them, everyone was looking at these games as an indication of what is the relative strength of both of these teams leading up to that big matchup. And so far, Fnatic, a strong game 1. Invictus Gaming, they had a strong game 1. And now Fnatic arguably looking even stronger.
It's kind of harsh to say, but this group does feel like top 2 teams just punching bags here on the bottom 2 teams as Fnatic, as you said, just keep on punching through. And this is looking extremely one-sided, much like the earlier games. Very clear line drawn between top 2 and bottom 2 here for the group.
Yep, Fnatic still maintain 100% first tower bonus throughout their 5 group stage games. They're nearly 6,000 gold up. Whippo continues to just bully and beat on PK in the top lane, and now that mid is opened up, Caps and Broxah start making their way down bottom. Let's see if they're going to go for the dragon or if they're going to put pressure on the tower. The tower seems to be the objective for now.
Definitely true. Even though there is plenty of vision here for GRX, even if you can see it coming, there's not a lot you can do about it. They just they don't have the items purchased yet. That's a good spear that will land and kind of dissuade Fnatic for now, because it does buy some time. Candy is level 11 on the block, was trying to trail through.
Also, no flashes on Caps or Broxah. The Vanguard's edge was also unavailable for Caps, so Fnatic recognize they can't afford to force this fight. And Hylissang, he protects his mid laner and allows him to go back to base and is working on spending some of that gold. And I do just want to quickly bring attention to the fact that Aurelia's a lot more have been building that Wit's End as a first item. It does synergize very nicely with her passive, and given how often you find AP champions, I feel like that it is a good item for her. Rush instead of the Trinity.
Itself is a very gold efficient item, especially when you get the stacks going. I like that you mentioned the synergy with the passive, because that also helps you stack it up quicker. And again, he's facing mid lane AP bursts and an AP jungle. So the majority of the early game, everything he's going to be seeing is magic damage. Really does make a lot of sense as far as this game, especially here now. They have so much control that they can take the objectives at their will. Dragon picked up, as well as Rift-Herald started now. GRX actually the ones to get that one quicker. So Mountain Drake and Infernal Drake are basically what they have to show, even though there is such a huge gold deficit for GRX to fight back from. If they can kind of stall out here, maybe they can rely on some buff power later.
And it's just showing where Fnatic's priorities are. They're looking for the kills, they're looking for the towers. They actually haven't made any motion towards the Dragon whatsoever, so when Fnatic backed away, GRX, they did take the objectives they could, but at what cost? Because of course Rift Herald was secured by Broxah, he's got that in his inventory, and I'm keeping my eyes on where he decides to drop Shelly.
And the thing is, Fnatic are willing to give up that Dragon because Mountain Drake only gives value to GRX if they are able to auto-attack turrets or auto-attack Baron. If they aren't able to get damage on these objectives, then it's not going to help you out. And
Kobe,
as of right now, not looking like it's going to be
the game isn't going to go long enough for Fnatic to believe that Infernal and Mountain will matter, especially when you see the way they're tower diving, where they're moving around the map. But this bottom outer turret, most definitely the target, at least for the rest of Fnatic as they were making their way down. Then Caps decides to roam back to the mid lane, and it's just chipping away at each of the objectives. Caps survives for a few seconds longer and hit Bebe one more time as Fnatic secure their 9th kill of the game. Now they turn their attention to Candy. He's running low on mana, but here comes Koala. Gets a knock-up as well as at least a reply back, I think, with the Ignite. Hylissang's in a little bit of trouble, and GRX, they trade 1 for 1.
And that is a 4-kill shutdown for GRX in the 1-for-1 trade. So to their favor, they do get those rewards. But again, it does feel like Fnatic are just pressuring so hard, and they're kind of playing this play because of the lead that they have been able to accrue.
And now there's only a 1,900 goal difference between the two mid laners, so the gap is definitely starting to close, but unfortunately the deficit is so huge. And you can see here, with the amount of damage reduction that Caps has from the W, he soaks up a lot of the initial burst from GRX, but then he takes a lot of tower shots. And fortunately with the Ignite down and with Caps going back in range of the tower and taking another tower shot there, it allows Candy to punish him and find a shutdown kill.
And for GRX, those are the types of very small wins that you have to look for, that you have to continue to try and count on. So it's definitely an opportunity that they need to jump on. So good job there for them punishing Fnatic and getting that shutdown. There are more shutdowns for them to try and grab.
Yeah, absolutely the case. GRX are still 7,000 gold behind. Baron is now a objective to contest. You can see Fnatic shifting all of their vision to the top quadrant. But while we have been chatting about those previous few kills, the bottom turret has fallen, the top turret has fallen. It's 3-0 as far as those objectives are concerned. And for Fnatic, they're very content. They're playing a little bit fast and loose, but they've got the advantage. They've got the team composition to do so. And you can see, it feels like every time Caps is on screen, he's posturing for a kill. He's threatening some sort of dive. And it's just, it's very suffocating to play if you're on the side of GRX, and they've just got to try to hold on to these inner turrets as long as possible.
Now, what we did say earlier about Fnatic is that, hang on, a bit of an engage.
Yeah, very nicely done, the flawless duet. It interrupts the quickness. There goes the Vanguard. Caps dashes all the way forward. Koala escapes with his life for now. Not long enough. Reckless snipes him down. You can hear Busan cheering in the background. The Rift Herald was summoned. It got a good charge onto that inner top turret, but Fnatic are starting to back away. Here comes PK, throws down the unstoppable onslaught. Hylissang chucks out the Glacial Fissure. So far, he's the first to fall. Now Broxah looking for Stitch as Whippo chases forward. The Demonic Ascension burst blows up the GRX HP bars, and Bebe escapes for now. But the tower will not be long for this world. In actual fact, Bebe pounces forward into Reckless's waiting hands, and GRX with a delayed ace.
And Fnatic, they shut down everyone on the side of GRX. It was Hylissang that started that one off. He got a little over-eager. He went in while the rest of Fnatic were going out, but ultimately that was the catalyst to allow Fnatic to walk over towards the Baron and secure another objective.
We're in for a pretty quick day, gentlemen. This is another 22-minute Baron. This is the third game in a row that's been very one-sided, and Fnatic extend that goal lead even further.
You know, and the funny thing is, Quick Shot, I still believe that the final game of the day is also going to be quick just because of how they like to play. But we can see here that Koala, he's just trying to interrupt the Rift Herald spawning. And with that ulti down, Caps is like, okay, he's squishy enough, I can dive this. A good ulti from Reckless on the back end secures the snipe, and then they start to disengage.
Yeah, and the only reason they do that is because they want, you know, the split push here from Whippo. He has teleport ready, though, so when Hylissang goes in, they can still have a good outcome because Whippo teleports into the middle of the entire GRX team, flashes forward on the Swain to keep this tower dive going, and they're able to clean up the rest of the members.
And of course, that replay brought to you by Asa Preza with Reckless getting the final kill there onto Bebe. 14-4 in kills, 12,000 gold, roughly the advantage for Fnatic. Baron buff secured, and Fnatic are sieging in multiple lanes. Whippo, where the rest of Fnatic took that top inner, Whippo is now pushing down bottom. The middle inner has already fallen, and Fnatic are just looking to go 2-0, and then sitting back and waiting and seeing what they can glean from the rest of IG's game.
So while this is definitely a difficult loss for GRX and the LMS region, for Fnatic fans, this builds a lot of confidence. The fact that they're winning with such dominance and looking for another dive inspires you a lot as they move into the rest of the day.
Right now, it's a challenge between Fnatic and IG. Who can win their games harder before the rematch to set up for the Clash of the Titans?
Well, we're going to find out. Koala finds a pretty decent engage with the knock-up and the quickness, but unfortunately there's just not enough damage to follow it up. It's a double kill for Reckless, and as PK gets popped in zombie mode, the inhibitor falls as well. Still a minute and a half left on Baron, and Bebe and Stitch, all that stands from a 0-5 record. Fnatic, they've already tower dived, fountain dived once this World's Group stage. They're not going to do it this time round. Instead, the Nexus turrets fall before 25 minutes. Fnatic take down the Nexus, and they set themselves up for a fight with IG. Like you said, top two, bottom two. There is a very, very clear skill and team divide in this group. And Fnatic have left two very big statements for the LPLs Invictus Gaming.
And the NLSS also talked a little bit about both of these teams looking at their opponents' games in the day to try and glean something, maybe some strategy revealed. But honestly, I don't think we've actually learned that much different from either of them in the early day games here in this stage. That just makes the possibility of surprises later that much more exciting.
Yep, it certainly does. And the one thing I will say about Fnatic is when we compare this team to last year, last year you could argue that they had a more difficult group, but at the same time, they had Caps, who was a rookie. They had Broxah, who was also a rookie on the international stage, and they also had a different support in Jez's. Now, coming into this year, we heard it from Broxah in his last interview where he felt that playing with the team for longer allowed them to build better synergy. It's not just a lot of individuals now, they are a stronger team. I feel like that what they have demonstrated is that they are a much stronger and a much more grown Fnatic compared to what we saw last year.
Very interesting to see whether or not Fnatic and IG can rein in the excitement and the chaos when they face later in the day. But before we get there, we got to head to the State Farm analysis to break down the result.
Thank you very much. Quick Shot. Blazing fast game for Fnatic here. Sub 25 minutes in their victory over GRX. Again, checking the boxes on their road to facing IG at the end of the day. They want that #1 seed.
Of course, it's the best team I've ever seen in the last 24 minutes, and they delivered. What a performance. There we go, we all hype.
Yeah, very much so. Let's take a look at some of the early action in the top lane, out of Whippo in particular. This guy comes in off the bench in place of Soaz with the Swain. I love the aggression that he approaches every matchup with.
And it feels like you can't go wrong, whether it's Soaz, whether it's Whippo, whether the fact that people keep coming out and trying to dive this guy, and he keeps turning 2v1s on their head. I believe this is like 2 games back-to-back where Whippo's like, no, you're stuck in here with me.
Yeah, nearly getting the dive kill. The sign eventually died. Then later he's able to get the solo kill. And this is one of the differences between him and Soaz. They said it in the cast, like, Whippo played a lot of Swain in a different lane during the summer split, but he's also able to pull it out top lane. So you get more aggression, which has its highs and also its lows. This game, we saw all the highs.
Yeah, we saw during playoffs, they would always start with Whippo in the best of 5s, but if they ended up losing a game, they would then take him out and actually sub in Source instead, because Source is still considered like he's the veteran up in that top lane, and when you have these kind of plays where you are going all in all the time, it's great against a team like GRX, but it can really backfire against a team like IG.
Do you think it's more so to have Soaz's veteran voice behind stage with the coach in terms of like how you would pivot or what you would pivot on versus him being able to glean something from the 1v1 matchup, so when he goes in, he now has the secrets figured out?
I think that definitely helps. It's a kind of jungle strategy we also see from a lot of teams where they leave the smarter jungler backstage for game 1 so he can learn the pathing and get subbed in. I think with Source it can be the same. But it's also, if you don't have to use Source and you can give Whippo as much experience as possible on stage and playoffs, you're going to do that as Fnatic because he is still one of the guys you're building around for the future.
I want to keep building on this conversation in just a moment. Before we get back to it, though, we have to recognize our MasterCard player of the game. Whippo played phenomenally, but Caps is the one who earns the honors in that blind pick Aurelia domination in the mid lane.
And he definitely has his work cut out for him because he is looking at Rookie at the very end of the game. So I like the fact that Caps already feels like he's warmed up. Like he stretched, he kind of shook out some of the jitters, he went for the hardcore plays, and he is not backing down today.
Yeah, so much confidence they put on him in the draft phase, just locking the Aurelia before even counter picks could be banned out. And then he smashes with it.
Twice now. I'm a little bit, like, I'm hyped, but I'm also a little bit concerned because he's
of course you are.
Super greedy today.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because it's against 2 weaker teams he's doing it, but like he almost died when we went to Rio.
I mean, it's becoming pretty clear with an average game time of 27 minutes and 29 seconds through 3 games. The difference between the top of this group and the bottom of this group is larger than in any other group here at Worlds.
All right, so because that kind of gap exists between the top 2 teams and the bottom 2 teams, I want to continue our discussion around Fnatic versus IG. Yeah. And in particular, continue this discussion around which top laner Fnatic might want to use looking ahead to that 6th game of the day. Let's continue talking about Soaz, Whippo, where and when these guys should be used, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages?
I mean, personally, as the LPL representative, I'm actually more afraid of Soaz, although I can understand why you could lean towards Whippo, because if you think it's going to be the Shy, you can pick up Whippo, you can go for something like that Swain pick, and maybe you feel like you have a bit more of a 1v1 edge there, but I feel like Soaz has that in spades anyway.
Yeah, if you look at overall composition for Fnatic, you don't need 3 carries. In League of Legends, you can do more than fine with just 2, especially when it's your 80 carry and your mid laner. So what I like about Source is that he will always take the tank. He will always accept that he's not going to be the focus, and he provides a much bigger voice when it comes to saying what is maybe the smart play. Whippo's comes a lot more of, let's go fight, let's kill this guy, let's kill that guy. Yeah. And while you do get the flexibility of a few more carries for Whippos, I think some of the things like Swain, if they absolutely need a top, Source has played stuff like that in the past. It's just not what he's playing right now. But I like when you have Captain Reckless to focus on a tank top laner and then just play around your mid and bot lane, and that's where Source slots in very nicely.
Yeah, so like strengths and weaknesses, I think Whippo's a stronger laner than Soaz, and Soaz is a stronger team player and with more experience. And what was really interesting to me about this last game is that Reckless picked Ezreal into the Xayah instead of going with something like Kaiser Leona. So if you're going to do that strategy, I think you want Whippo in there against IG.
Because especially you're taking away power from the ADC.
Especially if you're trying, with IG trying to play such powerful lanes. If you're not going to opt into the skill matchups bottom lane, you're going to be more on the back foot, and you need the top side of your map to do more.
I want to add in just one last point here. EU top laners actually felt like Source was as good, if not slightly better, in the laning phase than Whippo. He's just not as aggressive. That is really the difference. And you can then argue, being more aggressive, does that make you better or not?
It'll make your numbers better.
It will
which is what
definitely
we
make
know.
in good games. It will make your numbers better. In games where you get camped, you will not look as good.
Frost, final thoughts on this point. You said you're more afraid of Soaz, and is that because of the control that he lends to the game?
It's because of the team fighting. Invictus Gaming are very weak at team fighting comparatively to the other LPL teams. It's something that they've always been exploited for, and I feel like Soaz is the stronger team fighter. And so if they are playing Braum Ezreal, it tells me that maybe they're taking a defensive bot lane and more so looking towards either topside or 5v5. So I actually lean towards hyperscale team fight 5v5 as the win condition for Fnatic.
Yeah.
Final point.
I also think Soaz has the potential to solo carry a game. That's what he did against RNG in the quarterfinals last year. So if we're talking LPL, they respect Soaz.
Yeah, we've even seen some monster performances in losses out of this guy. So we're stepping away. When we return, 100 Thieves face off against Invictus Gaming. We'll see you here after the break.
Oh shit, it's an upgraded version of Matt's support. It's not K, it's PK.
Still got the first bottom lane. Oh, Reckless gets knocked up into the air. There's no summon to heal, remember. They managed to pick up one. Vanguard's Edge goes all the way in. Caps continues to dive. Hilly joins the fray. The stun onto Koala, and they steal away the life from GRX.
I am no flash. I'm getting low side, I'm flashing forward. I'm tanking. Tanking one more. I dropped aggro. Nice one.
Well, we're going to find out. Koala finds a pretty decent engage with the knockup and the quickness, but unfortunately there's just not enough damage to follow it up. And welcome back for Game 2, where GRX and Invictus Gaming are loading onto the Rift very, very shortly. Just before we start the game, just to set some stakes for you, if Invictus Gaming win this match, then that means Fnatic and IG are guaranteed quarterfinals, and there'll only be seeding left to determine. Let's turn our attention to GRX. This is the team that is 0-3. They made the run through play-ins. There's been a little bit of talk about how play-in teams from the other regions have been able to advance to quarterfinals, but for GRX, they've struggled a little more. It's a little bit more of a tougher group, and Kobe, they really have to show us today what they're made of.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a tall task, right? Going up against IG and Fnatic, they both look extremely strong, and they would have to win right now. This is the do or die moment for GRX because they are 0-3 currently, and because Fnatic also hold the head-to-head with 100 Thieves. This is the last one where a team besides Fnatic or IG can actually crack those top two.
Now, the last time these two teams did meet, it was a surprisingly close game, especially in the early game. A lot of early kills are being traded back and forth. We saw Ning looking for a lot of ganks all across the map, but it actually didn't result in a huge amount. And naturally, he did play towards the bot side, and I was very impressed with how they were able to absorb a lot of the pressure on the side of GRX. And ultimately, what it came down to was a single poor positioning from the side of GRX, which IG were very quick to capitalize, punish, turn into a Baron, and turn into game control.
Yeah, and of course, that was Ning playing the Zac. He had fantastic ultimates as the game progressed and played out. But we were talking about that game, Vetus, we were watching it in preparation for today. IG and GRX, it was their first game on stage. It was closer than my memory remembered. And looking back, that gives me a little bit of hope for GRX.
Yeah, and honestly, whenever we're talking about GRX, my hope is always with Stitch in the bottom lane. Ever since play-ins, I think he was playing extremely well, aggressively when he needs to, going in on things like Kai'Sa, taking killer instincts when there are opportunities for the team. So maybe some bottom lane focus for GRX to try and put a stop to IG.
Now, I also believe that they are running empty today as well, which was their main play-in jungler. And coming into the tournament, there were many question marks around his performance because he'd only played 5 games with the team. He didn't have that much experience, but he really had a very, very consistent performance, working very closely with Candy. And I think that that is really important if they want to try and mitigate the very early game pressure that Ning loves to have, along with Rookie, who is one of the best mid laners at this tournament.
And talking about substitutes over on the other side, of course, Duke in over the the Shy for Invictus Gaming. We'll see how these players are going to step up on stage. And the question was posed at the beginning of the day, will Invictus Gaming go 6-0? I believe Chat and Frost both predicted it. No team has been able to go 6-0 yet. It seems like the second half of groups, you've seen RNG and KT falter and fall in various ways. The question is, what would it take for IG to falter? What would it take, Kobe, for you to see IG to lose a game?
I think it would take early game mistakes from them, over diving, and early game mistakes specifically around that bottom lane. If they mess up around Stitch, and I think if they give money over to Stitch, he is a guy who can hard carry for GRX. Other than that, though, I don't think that's likely to happen, but that would be the area that I would be looking for, right?
Okay.
Because they do play aggressively, even when they have scaling champions a lot of the times as well. So we do expect a lot of the early action to determine it.
Well, of course, for IG, if they can go 6-0, if they can solidify LPL as the strongest region, get all three teams out of groups, two of them potentially in that first seed, it would be a statement when you look towards the playoffs. We're a couple of minutes away from draft, and as you can see on stage, I believe it is Empty who is just having a couple of his peripherals set up as he takes back to the stage. I'm going to turn my attention back to you, Kobe. Let's look towards the draft. What do you think is priority for these two specific teams, and what would you like to see, maybe, let's say, GRX playing to try and get that huge upset win?
Oh, I thought you were going to give me the easy start and go
no
with
way.
IG side, but we'll go with GRX's side. Honestly, I still have the Kai'Sa in my mind for Stitch because it does give them that win condition of, if Invictus Gaming make some early game mistakes and fund the Kai'Sa early and, shoot him up to a Rage Blade completion into some of these items where they can really snowball, that's kind of where I do see it happening. But for IG's side, I think they're very well aware of this, and that's one of the reasons why I think they put Duke in, is Duke has had good teleports for the team. Duke also does not take very many risks. So I feel like they're kind of covering their bases here. They don't want to, overextend in any sense of the word.
Now, last time we saw these two teams match up, Invictus Gaming actually heavily prioritized the Kai'Sa, and we know that Jaculov is actually a very talented Kai'Sa player, and when going back and watching how he plays, the thing that I find fascinating about him is how aggressively he plays on this champion. Level 1, he walked up to a Varus Tahm Kench and just throws out the Q, lands two orders, and he says, no, I don't care what this champion is supposed to do. I'm going to play it my way, and I'm going to get in your face. And tied back in with your point, Kobe, I think GRX need to take it away from him because of how confident he is on this champion.
All right, a lot of focus for us in that area. Currently, Alistar early banned by IG this time around, and the supports for setups for the bottom lane have been incredibly important. Along with Rakan following here, those are some of the go-to hard engage supports.
Now I'm expecting an Urgot first pick. It's something that PK actually had a lot of success with during the play-ins, and is something that I think is a very comfortable champion for him, but the risk is you give away Aatrox and Kai'Sa to the other side, so they're actually going to shift up their priority and go for more of the damage-dealing top lane.
All right, the Aatrox over the Urgot. That's something we've seen a lot out of the LCK top laners and their preference. We know GRX and the LMS players play a lot on that server. Let's see if Invictus opt into the Urgot matchup. It is hovered. I'm expecting it. And then, of course, the Kai'Sa would be the obvious answer. Now, let's see whether or not IG agree or throw us a curveball. And GRX now have to respond.
Yeah, this is kind of the expected response here from Invictus Gaming. The two most high priority champions that we have had throughout Worlds group stage. The Aatrox technically still could go to mid lane, so there is flexibility for GRX here. That's what you definitely want on the blue side to secure early. And Kai'Sa Xayah or Sivir have been the go-to into the Kai'Sa. Here it is picked up for Stitch. Definitely a respectable answer.
So in terms of what supports are available, GRX may look to grab themselves a Thresh right now, considered kind of one of the strong playmaking supports, and when you are running this Aatrox Xayah, having something that can provide with early game playmaking and a lane that you can look to play around, I think makes a lot of sense for GRX.
Yeah, we've definitely also seen the Dark Passage come in extremely clutch for a lot of these teams here, and you may need an extra escape for champions when playing against IG, who like to go for dives, like to go for some early skirmishing, try and pick people off. But there's the Tahm Kench, also incredibly good at the disengage and saving people.
I was just about to say the same thing. The Thresh and the Tahm Kench, both effective on the offense as they are on the defense, and Invictus Gaming enter phase 2 of the draft by removing another mid laner. So the LeBlanc taken off the table signals to me they're anticipating that Aatrox to go top. And of course, it's now going to be up to GRX to decide what options they want to limit. The jungle pool, relatively untouched. The Nocturne and the Gragas are, off the table. But there's still a number of options available for Empty and for Ning to play. Last time, of course, Ning Zac, very, very impressive to me.
With LeBlanc and Lissandra already banned here, I kind of expect the Syndra to follow because those have been two of the biggest answers. IG threatening here and looking like they want to force GRX's hand to spend their ban on it, though, with Skarner following.
I do think that Xin Zhao is a pretty strong pick for Ning, though. It will provide some decent early game engage. Alternatively, they could just go for the Zac once more if they just want to go more towards that team fighting when they have the Kai'Sa and the Urgot already in their composition.
Yeah, split focus here. The jungler bans coming in. I feel like Invictus Gaming saving that counter pick for Rookie are so threatening. Rookie is a guy that will play the Echo. He will play a Yasuo or something like that into an early Syndra pick and absolutely go for the outplay.
And it's nice to see Ning on an early game playmaker. We talked a little bit about the Xin Zhao with that taken off the board. He then goes towards one of his next comforts, and GRX, they're just going to go for what is a big comfort pick for Candy in the mid lane as well, but also considered one of the safest blinds.
I think they've been baited, though. I think that they have been baited here, Vedius. Rookie ready with the counter pick. We'll wait and see, but as you mentioned, the Camille pickup does do a lot of things for Ning. Very early and aggressive jungler here. You can control Scuttle Crabs from the beginning.
And of course, one of the responses to that early game, the Lee Sin, is potentially being locked in for GRX. Just go back to Candy Syndra. 7 times played this year, 71% win ratio, and all eyes on the counter pick. All eyes on what Rookie is going to play. Kobe, gimme. Yasuo, Echo. What would you want? What would you prefer?
I want an all-in assassin. I want an assassin here.
I think it's going to be like Malzahar or... I knew it!
Rookie!
Yeah, they have the Camille, they have Jackie Love on Kai'Sa. They're like, I have more than enough damage on my team. Let's just have a little bit more follow-up with the limited engage that they do have with Ning.
Now let's step back. If this were Caps, it would have been the counter pick, right?
Probably.
But it is IG. Surely, what I'm trying to say, surely this signals maybe a mature view of the game, because like Vedius pointed out, there are a lot of damage states, there are a lot of carries, so maybe you don't need it.
Yeah, okay, so as exciting as we're getting for assassin picks, the Galio just makes more sense. And as Trevor brings up, the mature win with the victory in mind. Galio plus Camille plus Kai'Sa here. This is absolute destruction for a late game team fight. Camille the perfect engage and set up for a Galio because Hextech Ultimatum forces whoever you catch to stay within the Galio knockup. You basically get to simultaneously kill a person and create a huge zone for your team to work off of. I think IG's composition here is extremely strong.
But I do think that GRX have the stronger early game potential. Xayah, Thresh, huge playmaking down the bot lane. Syndra, a lot of setup for a Lee Sin. Aatrox, enough damage in the top side of the map. If they can just find an early game lead against one of the best early game teams in the LPL, not only will it be a huge achievement, but it will be how they find their win today.
We're going to find out how much additional power the team composition gives the players, because just like you said, Vedius, it is an uphill battle. And to go back to the stakes to remind everybody, if Invictus Gaming win, it guarantees IG and Fnatic an appearance in the quarterfinals, and it sets us up for one hell of an exciting tiebreaker later in the day if all things go to plan. So IG maybe expected to be on the back foot in terms of champions. Let's see if they will play on the back foot, because Vedish, you've already said how you've seen Kai'Sa just step forward at level 1 for Jackie Love. And unfortunately, we do have a very brief pause just before we load into the game.
Also, honestly, with the Camille jungle, even Galio can fight 2v2s very well, right? Galio does have good setup. Early on, Syndra doesn't have the damage output that she will later. So that possibility of 2v2 skirmishes breaking out is still there, even though the Galio is the more team-oriented pick for later.
But while we do have some time, I want to go back towards this bot lane of IG. And when we get into game, if we have the possibility to just look at some of the early levels, we can really try to illustrate how some of these LPL bot lanes love to play. And it's something that I kind of read in an interview with, it was one of the AD carries from either EDG or IG, but they're like, we play against Uzi. Like, this guy is the best AD carry in the world, and we play him regularly. And then you go up against other AD carries who are practicing against him, and so we have a lot of talented AD carries in our region, and we like to play aggressively. We like to gain our own advantages, and that's why you see a lot of jungle attention invested around there. But at the same time, it's just not a style of AD carry that you're used to seeing because of how willing they are to just get in your face, look for every favorable trade. And even though on paper the matchup shouldn't look like it goes your favor, the LPL AD carries often make it do.
Also, it's a very good investment in the bottom lane. There are 2 champions down there, so if you spend your time down there, you kind of get double for your money, having a stronger support, a stronger marksman. Also, with the archetype of how that class is actually built, that is your carry for later in the game, trying to focus on both objectives, pushing down turrets, winning team fights. It gives you so many options if you can find success in that area of the map.
And of course, it's going to be up to GRX to try and stop it, right? If all the chips and the experience and the abilities in favor of Invictus Gaming, our eyes are on GRX. As you can see on screen, we do have a pause. PK has reported a mouse issue to our referees, and the technicians and QA team are busy working with him right now.
I don't think it works, Trevor.
I mean, have you tried plugging in and unplugging it? That's what the guys are doing while they're investigating that. We've talked a lot about IG. Expectations are very high for IG, but again, we need to see what GRX are going to do and how they're going to step up.
And when you're looking down this composition for GRX, the difficulty level seems a bit higher, right? Their engage comes from either Aatrox literally seeing someone by themselves, popping ult to get the move speed and trying to run at them for a pick. But other than that, it's skill shots from Thresh or Lee Sin making a crazy insect play, right? So it's not going to be as reliable for GRX if they don't get this early game lead. That's what they want to do. If they can get control of vision, though, early on, that could be where we see success for them. Lee Sin creating plays, having Fog of War to get long-range Syndra stuns into Thresh hooks off. Those can be very devastating picks, so you can definitely snowball with this composition, and they do have the damage output to back that up.
And that's why pressure kind of falls on Empty with the Lee Sin. We saw what Broxah was capable of doing on the champion, and expectations now fall on the jungler of GRX to be able to make these opportunities happen, because in terms of individual skill, you just kind of look at these LPL players and they're considered the trident for a reason. They're able to carry through their bot or through their AD carry, through their mid laner or their top laner. And Jackie Love has demonstrated multiple times how talented he is. Rookie is regarded as one of, if not the best mid laner right now in the world. And Duke and Shy both have been powerhouses in the LPL.
I have a question for you about Empty, because of course Empty and Bebe, the substitutes for the GRX roster, Empty played a lot of the games through play-ins where GRX went 7-1. They come into the group stage, and they've actually played 2 of their 3 week 1 games with Bebe, which was a little bit of a surprise to us. Venus, what are some of the benefits that Empty can bring, not only because he has more stage experience here at Worlds, but also he's been able to watch backstage for 2 of their 3 opening week games?
Well, I think the thing about Empty is just he was more willing to do stuff. And I think that's why I really enjoyed watching about him in the playing stage.
Eloquent.
Sounds like a great resume title.
That's it.
I'm so willing to do stuff. Give me the job.
You play with some solo queue junglers, you're just like, if you could just do anything, that would be great. And this is the kind of guy that does a lot of things. He's really good at finding early game plays, especially around his mid laner. Candy and Empty were the duo that we often talked a lot about during the playing stages, where they found a lot of their early leads. And when you have this Syndra, plenty of setup, combined with the damage from a Lee Sin, I feel like that is just one of the many lanes that they could attack.
All right, well, let's get onto the field here. Both teams have loaded in. Everybody's got their peripherals ready, and completely lined up 1v1 right down the middle of the map, Trevor.
What is it? The line of scrimmage? Is
That
that
is
the
what we
official
call it
term?
here.
Well, that's exactly what happens. And a small traders rookie gets the Winds of War. Damage advantage, IG. Taking a look down the summoner spells, nothing too crazy. I like seeing the spell book on Urgot up in the top lane. It'll give Duke a lot of options as the game continues to play out.
A lot of options for an important game. This is definitely not a scrimmage. This is the last chance for GRX to open up this group. If IG win this game, they will guarantee themselves and Fnatic quarterfinal spots. There's a lot riding on this one, and IG can't look forward to their later game versus Fnatic. They can't ignore GRX right now.
I mean, regional pride for both teams, but for very different reasons. The LPL coming in with extremely high expectations, potentially, arguably, maybe, definitely the best league in the world if IG can top their group. And the LMS, they've faltered. You know, the LMS, one of those leagues that when you expect things from them, expect high praise, they maybe potentially, or maybe fall over a little. Regardless of that fact, we're on screen. Candy with this Syndra going into the Galio. Gonna have some early shenanigans up his sleeve if Empty with that Dark Harvest Lee Sin decides to come play around. And Candy takes a big chunk to the face, but Scatter the Weak easily sidestepped by Rookie, and that's an advantage to one of the best mid laners in the world.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes you'll see Galio focusing mostly on hitting those AoE abilities on the minions. Big trade there from Rookie, also using his Aftershock. Meanwhile, we do have the early Scuttle Crab here from Ning, revealing himself on that ward. Should be the response from Empty to get the bottom one before Ning is able to transition. Plenty of river vision early on. Is going to see this blue buff invade. What will GRX do about it? Does he go for the counter or try and collapse? As of right now, going for the counter and heading into IG territory.
So it looks like Ning is just trying to get a bit of information as to what MT is up to. He should know that a full bot side clear was done by MT, and so now the jungler immediately heads back towards this blue buff, but I think MT should be able to get this one in time.
Yep, gonna be able to finish it off here. He does have Smite, finishes it. Also in Fog of War, while Ning is gonna use his abilities on the Scuttle Crab. Actually, he never used his E.
Well, take a look at this. Koala's already left lane, was waiting for that hook shot to go out. Ning decided to hold the trigger, and instead he will get both of the Scuttle Crabs at the cost of his blue.
Yeah, it's very important in these early skirmishes. If the other jungler uses one of their main abilities, like hook shot, to get a stun onto Scuttle Crab, that's when you jump on them and look to try and punish them, take some health advantage, and get a little priority in the jungle. There, though, Ning not going to waste it, and even though they both saw each other, it's pretty much a reset, as we have a base from Empty to get a bunch of little pieces of Tiamat coming through, and they will meet again at the opposing blue buff.
So the important thing, good stun from Ning.
All right, take a look at this. Empty's in some trouble. Sonic with found his target. He's running for his life, down to 100 HP. Ning's got no more cooldowns. You can see in the bottom left, and he decides to back away. Empty has not left lane yet.
Critical as well. Candy just went for a base. So IG have full control of this area. Rookie can rotate over, whereas Candy has no teleport and is walking from the fountain.
So this is why the entire play was safe from Ning from the get-go. And what surprised me was just how Ning goes straight onto Empty rather than the blue buff, because you recognize this that the enemy jungler is there. He'd already set up the vision earlier, and he's like, okay, I know I can out-trade the Lee Sin at these early levels. I know that I have priority mid and in top lane, and if Empty tries to commit, not only does he run the risk of dying to me, but I know that my support is going to get here first. So Ning walks away without losing too much.
100% for the Camille. If you land your hook shot, you win the trade. Chasing Empty out here, making him play defensively, and now he's walking over IG Vision if he wants to try and get back into this game.
Oh, this is so scary. 2v2 starting out, but IG are fully aware. Empty manages to flash away for his life, but the sweep shot comes out, and one more precision protocol.
That's the Galio setup we were talking about for the 2v2 skirmish in the mid lane here. IG find first blood. Ning is rewarded on the Camille, but Rookie taking a lot.
All right, that's a good start, and Candy may find the kill. Defensive flash. Rookie stays alive, but not for long. Candy gets the auto after chasing. Ning's going to look for the secondary kill now, though. Not a lot of mana for Candy to work with. I'm keeping my eyes on Ning. 2 seconds for hook shot, and Candy escapes.
Rookie with the overstay, and he is punished so hard. Candy strikes back.
Oh, death sentence gets caught onto Jackie Love, but the gobble from Baolan.
And we talked about the comfort for Candy, how this Syndra pick is a really big deal for him, but we got to backtrack to how this all started off. Empty, he just wanted to get a bit of vision down. He wasn't expecting the collapse coming out from IG. He ends up losing his life trying to escape with the Sonic wave. Now, you'll see here the Rookie, he just disrespects the amount of damage that Candy's able to throw out, taking way too much harassment. Candy doesn't have Ignite, but he's able to land the stun. Now the damage reduction from his W does keep him alive, but because Candy doesn't see Ning, he's forced to use both his cooldowns to chase and secure the kill, but still a big advantage gain for the mid laner of GRX.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was miscommunication. It looked like with the movements from Rookie, he was baiting, but Ning was not right there to jump over the wall with the hook shot. And Candy, now he's level 6 on the Syndra, access to the burst damage.
And we're seeing once again the early game impact from Ning. Talk to the stats, guys, and right now in terms of kill plus assist of 15 and team jungle proximity, he is ranked 3rd among all junglers in group stage, and that just goes to show how a lot of the early game leads that Invictus Gaming get come off the back of their jungle.
I mean, we were watching it. It felt like it was the Ning camp. You know, we were following his pathing from the blue buff where he lost his Sentinel to the invade onto GRX and eventually securing first blood. Invictus are 1,000 gold up. We haven't looked too much at Stitch and Koala, but Stitch just came back to life, back to the bottom lane. And Koala's got a number of death sentences, but it hasn't equated to any sort of lead just yet.
And to just quickly touch back on the Ning point as well, because coming into the World Championship, the thing about him as a jungler was he's considered a very coin-flip player. Someone that likes to play aggressively and likes to build early leads, also runs the risk of overcommitting for plays and overextending when seeing an opportunity. And that is how they often got punished. But still they had the best regular season record, and you could just go to show that their aggression was often unrivaled. And so far in this early game, it is Invictus Gaming that have already found themselves an early game.
Well, luckily for him, he is on Camille, one of the best junglers at snowballing early. The coin has flipped heads here. He was the one that got the kill credit for the first blood. This accelerates his game so effectively. Tiamat now, he can even AoE camps so that he can more quickly get in place for the ganks. That's what Camille is known for, the long-range engage.
You can see Ning just waiting in the bush then. Duke is making his way down. Caught a glimpse of Baolan making his way up as well. And, you know, for a draft from GRX and a picks and bans, we were so heavily saying that GRX needed to get ahead early. This is not the start that they wanted. 8 minutes in, down 1,000 gold. They still have a lot of playmaking, though, with the Lee Sin, with the Syndra, with the Thresh. So let's see over the next 5 to 6 minutes whether or not they can find the lasso. Koala swing and a miss as Jacula very easily sidesteps.
But also just look at the state of this lane, right? It is a fresh Xayah, a very powerful 2v2 lane. And Invictus Gaming to the ones on the aggressive. Again, they're going for an all-in because their jungler's behind them.
All right, the box comes down. Here comes Ning. Feather Storm comes out from Stitch. That will survive. But Koala forced to use his flash, and the only cost was the Ignite on the side of Invictus. Give it a few minutes, try that again, and maybe you'll get yourself a pigeon for dinner.
Yeah, it definitely looked like Ning had been waiting around so much. They decided to try and bait a little bit there. They do get some summoner spells blown. Thresh without flash now is actually a good target for the bottom lane. Maybe they return to this area and try and punish that. That's why we saw Empty come down on the Lee Sin, try and provide a little protection here. Control ward's been placed in the tri-brush.
And now we keep our eyes towards the top lane, who we haven't really talked much about yet. You can see that in terms of the Aatrox-Urgot matchup, this one not going quite the way PK would have wanted, at a pretty significant deficit in the early game. And even though he had the choice between the two, he decided to go for this one, and right now, it is not working out for them. So GRX there, struggling in top side of the map. Even though the kill was given to Candy, he is still around even, behind even in terms of gold.
And in contrast to the last time they played, Various, this is a much cleaner start from IG. Very clearly in the advantage. Ning, once again, leading from the front. He flips the coin and finds PK, locks him down. Duke will pretend that Fear Beyond Death didn't happen. And yes, the passive from Aatrox keeps him alive, but he loses his summoner spell. Invictus Gaming very, very clearly in the driver's seat and in charge. Duke Just missing that skill shot means he misses the kill.
And after Empty fell behind early, we haven't really seen much of his presence anywhere. 10 minutes into the game, yet to find a successful gank. And we talked about how he had so many lanes that he could look to play around. So far, he has been unable to do it. And now that he's hanging around the top side, this could be his first opportunity.
Yeah, maybe they get a little bit of a baiting here. PK actually didn't finish his recall, so he's sticking around with low health. But I think it was mostly of, again, covering for another possible offensive move here. Maybe a counter gank. He's been waiting in the wings. Nobody going to pull the trigger, though. No mistake from IG. That's what we were talking about as one of their possible loss conditions would be going a little bit too hard and overextending.
Yeah, and of course, we keep coming down to this bottom lane. JackeyLove doing such a phenomenal job again. And if you look at some of the stats from the first round robin, JackeyLove's, he showed up. KDA 14.7, second as kill participation, amongst the highest damage per minute, first CSD, just fantastic, fantastic performance from JackeyLove. And I really like the point that you were making earlier, Vedes, about how JackeyLove is regularly going to be competing against players like Uzi, players like iBoy. So when they come up against players like Stitch, there's this gravity chamber effect that allows the LPL ADCs to just perform at a higher level.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to watch, and I was very impressed with how IG played around their bot lane, especially when they went up against Fnatic. That matchup will obviously be happening later in the day, but already JackeyLove has now claimed his CS advantage once again on the Kai'Sa. I think the only champion that he's played so far in the group stages. And IG, they're very comfortable with how this game is going right now. They sit on an early gold lead. They have the better team fighting later on into the game. And they're kind of setting up JackeyLove to be that big damage dealer later on.
That's it. Can confirm. 14.7 KDA, as we mentioned. 3-0 on that Kai'Sa. It appears no other team in this group has felt the need to take him off it or has prioritized other champions, for better or worse. And now JackeyLove on this comfort pick, plus 1,500 gold. His support gets hooked, but there's no follow-up.
Yeah, and as great as he's been on the pick, I think Stitch is doing just fine down here. It's not like this is going to be a problem for GRX. The problem, as we keep mentioning, is this top lane, because Duke is slamming PK here, and Ning wants to make him compromise.
Well, I think the baby cage will get put down shortly, and that means PK cannot get away. Duke steps all the way forward and finds the fear beyond death, grinding him to dust. Baolan with a very respect flash there, realizing that once he's devoured JackeyLove, a death sentence could be problematic. GRX at least have a counterplay. I am happy to see this, but at the cost of a kill and Tau first blood.
Yeah, Empty does go for the objective focus there, takes off the dragon. Now he's looking mid. There's a possible Syndra setup, but look at IG. Rookie has already backed off to his strong side of the map. That's what we want to see for your mid laners. He went top side where he had his jungler, and with the dragon alert, he knew next possible way for GRX to make a play on the weak side would be towards him, and he avoids that.
I just feel like I blinked, and there's a 3,000 gold lead. Invictus have got CS advantage gigantic in the top lane. Ning is obviously doing well with the kill and assist and the tower bonus. And Invictus Gaming got all the tools they need to move into this mid game, and then they've got so many tools to fight and skirmish as they desire.
Exactly. Invictus Gaming have the stronger side lane. They have the stronger team fight. So the cards are in their hand, and it's up to them to play them out here through the mid game. Yes, you want to try and get your vision through the jungle and work it up a little bit more slowly, but Ning here on the Camille in a very good spot to go for these skirmishes, because Rookie is ready on Galio. He has an ultimate to back him up. Tom Kench has access to the Abyssal Voyage as well, so Rylan can even bring their bottom lane if things converge into a 5-on-5 fight.
And of course, taking a look at the first item pickups, JackeyLove and his Kai'Sa decided to go for that Storm Razors first. We've been seeing a lot of Rage Blades. Do you think there's a particular reason? Do you think it's preference, just how the game's playing out, Kobe?
Yeah, I always like to have the slightly earlier minded Storm Razor first. That's personal preference for me. It does give Kai'Sa nice momentum here and possible fallout for the playmaking. Currently though, Empty sneaking into the side brush, so we'll see if they can set something up for GRX's side.
Surprised that he didn't actually walk into the brush though with the sweeper. So that ward is still sitting there for IG. Stitch will take little to no damage as he gets forced away from this objective, but keep your eyes on Ning again, looking for a potential flank. The Galio is there as well. That combo is up and ready.
All right, so Duke has made his way to the mid lane. A 3-man stack of GRX is currently being dove.
Nice hook.
The Hextech ultimatum is available but not yet used. Empty finally gets locked into place. He's taken down. First kill for Jackie Love. Here comes Rookie. He arrives with the ultimate, but Candy's coming as well. This is a party in the bottom lane. The box is thrown down. The feathers fly, and it's IG that are in trouble. The unleashed power helps set Stitch up for another. Death Sentence finds its target, and Koala helps GRX win the fight, finds a flame, ignites down Duke, but a fear beyond death means Koala concedes his life. That went about as well as it could for GRX.
GRX happy to punish that dive from Invictus Gaming. Very nice play there, hooking him back in and securing the extra kill.
Really good stuff from GRX as they finally find a semblance of life in this early game. The goal difference is still big in favor of IG, but GRX saying, we're not done without a fight.
Yeah, Stitch able to get some of the money as well. Let's take another look at how it started out. Now, this is quite nice. The hook here does force the Devour. Devour has a really long cooldown nowadays, so it's not going to be available for the secondary stage. Jackie Love and IG do get the first kill there, and then once Rookie arrives, he actually takes a decent amount of damage, but there's the hook onto Ning. They pull him basically out of the fight. PK goes in, and Candy comes through for the execution onto Rookie. Now it's basically about the chase, and Koala does end up getting hit by the Urgot ultimate. As soon as he gets shot one more time, sucks back in for the extra kill. In the end, Duke also goes down though, so GRX, in as dangerous and poor position as they were, at least they were able to get some gold onto their carries.
Yeah, I think that's a really big deal for the squad, given that IG were kind of slowly taking control of this game. Quick show, you talked about how it was like suddenly a 3,000 goal difference after losing that top tower. That goal gap is slowly starting to close, and we can see Stitch able to do a lot of damage. You already talked about him, Kobe, how he has had a solid performance throughout the group stages so far. Now that he's sitting at 1-0-2, Candy on his comfort pick in the Syndra is 2-0-2. GRX saying that they're not completely out of this game just yet.
No, they're not. And of course, you guys mentioned during draft how GRX's initiation are based on skill shots. It's going to be Aatrox finding a target, or Lee Sin, or Thresh. And you know what? I don't know if I've seen Koala miss very many important death sentences. In that team fight, every single time somebody needed to get caught, he helped his team out. 0-1-3 of his team's 4 kills. He's been involved in 3 of them. And you know what? They shut the top tower down. Stitch and Koala, they're pretty content to keep farming up in that bottom lane.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we've got several members converging onto Candy. As you mentioned, though, Candy's got 2 kills for himself, means completed Luden's Echo plus some magic penetration. He can definitely burst down someone like Ning here on the jungler if Ning is a little bit too careless, wastes his Hextech ultimatum and can't dodge. They do have to be a little bit scared of the possible burst.
And of course, for GRX, they need a miracle. 0-3 down. If they want some magic, some Fnatic magic from 2017 to make it out, they have to win every single game and have to start here against the #1 team in the group, Invictus Gaming, who are at 3-0. And GRX, they are still behind, but we saw that team fight. There is glimmers of hope. They just simply cannot wait too much longer to try and claw back this deficit. Invictus Gaming, on the other hand, they're going to take another neutral objective. The Rift Herald uncontested here. Ning, Duke, as well as Rookie helping out. And this is just going to allow them to take out most likely that mid turret in the next few minutes. So for Invictus, it's just squeezing the life and squeezing the freedom from GRX.
So, Ning coming in the mid lane.
Ooh, stats of the week looked pretty good, but it simply wasn't enough. Ning takes the ultimate to the face, but he's able to survive. There comes Duke with the ultimate and a very easy double kill for Invictus Gaming.
And I was just about to say, this game looked very similar to the last one, where at about 20 minutes, things looked even until a single play started to swing things in favor of Invictus Gaming, and that was the kind of play they were looking for. A good dive into the mid lane secures a tower and 2 more kills.
Talked about IG holding most of the cards here. They play the Camille Galio combination. That gives them not only those 2 kills, but the mid turret down means the entire map now wide open for Invictus Gaming. They're simultaneously taking Dragon and diving bottom lane.
Yes, they are, and Koala's the target. Duke will be taking him out. Kill secured by Jackie Love, in fact, as a disdain flings PK backwards. Marlon's making his way forward. I haven't seen if he's used the Devour just yet. It's not even going to get needed. A double kill for Jackie Love, a Mountain Drake for Invictus, a tower for IG, and a 7,000 gold lead.
In quick succession, IG take 4 objectives for themselves, and then in the end there, you know it's bad when they're doing 2 at the same time. Here's the 3-man dive of the bottom side that they start out. Jackie Love putting out the damage while Duke goes in to tank the turret and play the front line.
And Invictus Gaming, it's just because they have a numbers advantage that they're able to just dance so aggressively like this. Jackie Love, he was forced to use his heal on the backline to just get out of that dangerous Aatrox situation, but pick after pick, GRX not showing the right amount of respect, and IG, they just take everything that's available.
Yeah, they had not even given GRX enough time for Empty and Candy to revive from the fountain. Those two guys ran as quickly as they could from the fountain to that play, and were only able to arrive to see the pieces.
If you are a Fnatic fan, you are very happy right now, because if Invictus Gaming close this game out, both Invictus and Fnatic are guaranteed quarterfinals. And the remainder of the day will be a seeding battle, and whether or not GRX and 100 Thieves can play upset. Duke has got the ultimate available. I'm waiting to see if he fires it. Has done so and activates it. And Duke manages to kill PK. 4-1-3 on that Urgot.
The other thing that Fnatic are looking at, though, is their main opponent. They're looking at IG and how strong IG are performing in this game. This is going to give them something to think about for later in the day.
And many have said that when you evaluate IG and Fnatic, the two that are expected to get out of this group as IG just casually start off the Baron, how hard do they dominate the other two in the group? Are they as strong as they're expected to be? And so far, both Fnatic and IG have shown very, very solid performances.
22-minute Baron. Rift Herald takes the bottom inner turret. The gold lead jumps to 10,000 or just shy of it. And Invictus have got every single tool at their disposal. And for GRX, it's such an uphill battle. They had to find a way to get ahead in the early game, and unfortunately they didn't. From there on out, Invictus have just done absolutely everything correctly to set themselves up to close this game, to go 4-0 in the group once they take down the Nexus. And Koala's not going to find the death sentence either. It is a very dominant win here, Kobe.
Yep. Invictus Gaming now 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on the Baron. Over under on how many turrets they get with it. I'll set it at like 4 more from the current state.
So 3 more now that the mid one has just died. 2 more once this one goes down. The Baron Empowered Cannon minions doing a lot of work, chipping away. I think 1 more shot should just about do it. 2 more turrets, and that will make you a prediction god, Kobe. Something that Vidish will never be able to achieve.
Thanks, good one, Trevor.
All right, well, GRX fans, it is time to put your rally caps on because your best hope at a defense is at inhibitor turrets. Trying to have IG funnel through, maybe overcommit. Hopefully you could get some sort of split to the team fight, but you are facing overwhelming odds from the IG onslaught that is going to come forward, because again, their road forward is so easily paved with hard, long-range engage. Camille Galio and Urgot can easily tank turrets as well, so there's definitely a lot of safety for IG as well as the offensive power.
And it's such a difficult scenario to be in. Not only are GRX on the cusp of being eliminated from playoffs, but they also will be facing Fnatic in their very next game. So they play the 2 back-to-back. Invictus Gaming have got 11,000 gold up. They've got a composition that has got so much margin for error, even without the phenomenal lead in the Baron buff. And it's just a very, very difficult situation to be in. Invictus have got 1 minute and 10 to take 2 more towers and prove Kobe correct. To chunk down the mid inhibitor, and with those death sentences not finding a target, Kobe, it is infinitely more difficult for GRX.
Yep. There's still a minute left on the Baron. Invictus Gaming, they were pushing in all 3 lanes, but now they've reduced it down to 2. 5 members of GRX coming towards Rookie.
All right, let's see what he can do. Starts to channel the taunt. Flashes forward into 3. Look at the Winds of War. They've already found Stitch. Jackie Love jumps into the backside, and it's Ning that gets himself a double kill. Fear Beyond Death pops the passive of PK, and yes, Empty finds a kill onto Jackie Love, but as it stands, it's a 4-for-1 in favor of Invictus.
Absolute obliteration from the side of Invictus Gaming. GRX, they thought they could get the collapse onto Rookie, but it was he who collapsed onto them. 4 members of IG still live, and they're looking for the base.
20 seconds left on this Baron. A couple of minions onto the Nexus turrets. Number 1 has fallen. Number 2 is the focus, and Empty is feeling empty as GRX are eliminated from playoffs. And Invictus Gaming, they're not done yet. There goes the Devour. Invictus qualify for the quarterfinals.
Confident and clean win from the side of Invictus Gaming. It all started off with Ning in the early game, really dictating the pace, keeping Empty down, and overall finding a lot of very successful plays. 4-0-5 at the end of that game.
With the first 2 games of the day going to the favorites, this sets the stage for the race to the end of the day and the rematch, Fnatic versus IG. We already know these are the 2 teams that are going to get out and go to quarterfinals, but in what order?
And the question is, who gets to play upsets? Every single group has had upset results where underdogs toppled champions, where the heavy favorites suffered losses. RNG and KT Rolster both fell to weaker opposition in their groups. The question is, who's going to pick up the win, if at all, against Invictus? That's the question we're going to try to find out later today. And to figure out how IG won this game, let's head to our analysts.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot. Important to note off the top that both IG and Fnatic are now locked for the quarterfinals with this victory. But we want to take a look at how IG did it. And so often when we talk about these lopsided matchups where there is an expected result, that the team considered an underdog should do one of 2 things. They either need to index heavily into the early game and try and run away with it, and or index heavily into the late game and just hold on until they can start winning team fights. GRX, they made their decision, but I'm going to let Frost help break down the approach from both teams.
Yeah, so it feels like GRX, their idea was to go all early game lane dominance. And against Invictus Gaming, that makes a lot of sense. They are the lane kingdom team. They love to play pre-15 minutes. And so GRX understood, we're not going to survive into the late game. We must meet them toe-to-toe there. Whereas Invictus Gaming, we're all about reactionary. Jat actually said something that I really loved right before this segment. It was the fact that Invictus Gaming are willing to skill check on 3 different types of matchups right now. The Xayah Kai'Sa, the Syndra LeBlanc, and the Urgot Aatrox. And if you leave either of those champions up, they believe that they have better players, they'll take the opposite side of the matchup, and they'll beat you.
A lot of flexibility on the side of IG with the players that they have on this roster. Let's take a look at the bans, though, and the approach from GRX in dismantling IG.
So the first thing that I want to talk about was the Aurelia and the Akali. Again, Invictus Gaming have huge champion pools. They can play everything, and they can flex it between multiple members. You must ban both against them because it doesn't matter if this is the Shy, Duke, or Rookie. They will play both Aurelia, and they will both play the Akali. Now, the interesting thing for me was the Rakan ban. By banning Rakan and having both Aatrox and Urgot open, it allows you to have a stronger priority pick for either one of the top laners. If you don't ban the Rakan, I believe that the priority pick must go to the Xayah because you cannot give Xayah Rakan to second rotation Invictus Gaming. You're just automatically going to lose. They decide on the Aatrox as the priority pick because they believe that they have the better side of the Aatrox-Urgot skill matchup. That said, Duke did go ahead 70 CS, so probably took the wrong gamble there.
Right, he was happy to take the Urgot side of the matchup. Interestingly, the Kai'Sa comes in then for Invictus Gaming because that Rakan is not available to them anymore to duo up next to the Xayah.
Yeah, and once you see the Kai'Sa and the Urgot come through, because again, Duke's like, it's fine, it's a skill-based matchup, I see your Aatrox, I'm gonna take the Urgot anyway, it's such a huge champion. Kai'Sa has been popping off for Jackie Love. The next rotation is then grabbing the Thresh and the Xayah.
Exactly.
So they see the Kai'Sa, they know that they're going for late game team fights. Again, GRX, they want to hit Invictus Gaming as hard as they can into the matchup. They grab a 2v2 kill duo lane, and then the immediate response from Invictus Gaming is to grab the Tahm Kench from Balan. They say, okay, they're trying to kill us, we have the Kai'Sa, we can scale up. Let's get more safety and have a little bit of a seatbelt there on that bottom lane.
Right, then we hit the point in the champion select where both teams have the opportunity to recognize the other team's approach and strategy, and take a couple picks away. So already we've seen some aggressive picks out of GRX. IG can respond to that, and GRX, in attempting to keep that early game dominance, can remove just a few more picks from the table. Let's take a look at what they did.
And for me, this is the most interesting part of the ban phase. So the fact is that Invictus Gaming have the LeBlanc ban, and this is saying that if you pick the Syndra, there's no longer a counter pick there. So Syndra now rises massively in priority, is kind of what they're going to grab. Now, IG do have the first pick out of red side. So with the LeBlanc ban, it feels like coming into second ban phase, they're saying, okay, we're going to grab the Syndra first pick out of it. We're fine to blind pick it because we feel like you don't have anything to counter us out. Then they go Lissandra and Xin Zhao. I would have actually changed this Lissandra ban for a Camille ban. Now, we just saw Ning pop off on the Camille. He plays 3 champions. He plays Xin Zhao, he plays Camille, and he plays Zac. If you ban Xin Zhao and Camille there, chances are that they'll grab the Zac pick. They've done this in the LPL. And suddenly, with an early game composition, having the Xayah and the Thresh, Zac can't gank before level 4, level 5. You have a much larger window where you can be proactive on the map. I think by leaving the opportunity for the Camille pick to come through, one of his signature picks, that's where they kind of took a step back and didn't go all the way on their game plan. Yeah, you have to pick your poison. Are you going to try to ban out Ning? You're going to ban out Rookie. I feel like GRX kind of took neither, and then they ate both.
Ugh. That's not what I want to hear for this squad. But of course, we saw as it played out, early kills coming in for the Camille off to the races. You already mentioned as well the fact that the Urgot got off the ground in what is considered a skill matchup by many teams. But more than anything, what speaks to me here is the fact that IG buys themselves so much real estate because of the strength of the players across so many champions. And with that diversity, you saw the struggle that GRX had in even trying to dismantle this roster.
And exactly, and even though GRX put their composition beautifully for early game, you think about Syndra, you think about Lee Sin, think about that level 6 power spike and the ability to assassinate anyone there. It was Invictus Gaming who struck first. They got the first blood with beautiful vision setup from the Camille Galio. And while that combo is known for its team fighting prowess, it's not known for its early game dominance prowess. So even with what is considered a late game scaling team composition, Invictus Gaming were able to play it early game anyway, and it speaks to the strength of their roster.
PK got his choice of the matchup. He chose the Aatrox. Duke, with the Urgot picking up MasterCard player of the game, says, doesn't matter which side I play, I'm gonna win it. Builds a massive CS lead and rolls to a finish.
And it's a massive storyline for Duke. You know, this is a guy that's coming in to replace the Shy. The Shy had so much hype built around him in spring, but Duke says, no, I'm no longer just a tank player. I can play the carry matchup too. 3 of his most played champions this year were carry champions, including that Urgot through the playoffs. So beautiful job by Duke.
Very solid win for IG to secure themselves a quarterfinal spot. But as we move on towards the rest of the day, MasterCard, as our Riot Games' first global sponsor, was on the lookout for some of the hypest fans in Busan and found a few who earned themselves MasterCard Fan of the Day. Today, Si Chang from New York and Peisha from Miami joined Cade and Sean from Perth and Brisbane, Australia, in seat upgrades and matching Worlds beanies as they watch today's games and the subsequent group draw. Now, GRX return to the stage in Game 3 as they look to find a win versus Fnatic, so don't go anywhere.
A good start. Candy may find the kill. Defensive flat. Rookie stays alive, but not for long. This is a party in the bottom lane. The fox is thrown down. The feathers fly, and it's IG that are in trouble. The unleashed power helps set Stitch up for another. PK backwards. Marlon's making his way forward. I haven't seen if he's using the power just yet. It's not even going to get needed. And on the torch, lashes forward into 3. Look at the Winds of War. They've already found Stitch. Jackie Love jumps into the backside, and it's Ning that gets himself a double kill.
I think our group has been pretty much predictable. I think Invictus and us are the main competitors to get out of the group stage.
Broxah trying to run him down. Sonic Wave. If the Broxah brings it home!
Are IG and Fnatic monster favorites in this group?
Oh my god, Jackie Love!
Absolutely. but sometimes one game is all it takes to turn the tide.
I think just for us, definitely got to focus on playing more confidently, making sure, we're not playing too scared.
Afromu hit hook after hook after hook in that fight. A thing of beauty there from the NA superstar.
Coming into this group stage, facing all the traditional strong team, it's gonna be harsh for us. If you lost the first game, you cannot collapse. We gotta still going forward.
파리에서 2015년 때인데 그때 저희가 성적이 너무 안 좋아가지고 제 개인적으로나 아니면 팀적으로나 약간 기분이 좀 안 좋았어요. 근데 이번에 다시 기회를 잡고 롤드컵에 다시 왔는데 저희가 더 열심히 해서 좋은 성적으로 팬들에게 보답하고 싶어요.
Sometimes one game is all it takes to turn the tides, and that's exactly what can happen in our first game of the day. Welcome back to World's Countdown, where we're about 15 minutes away from kicking things off. And in relation to that first game, Fnatic versus 100 Thieves, Deficio and Jat will have a go at picks and bans, with Deficio drafting for the EU champions and Jat for the second seed from NA. Let's check it out.
Thank you very much, Dash. And we did this a few times on NALCS Countdown. This is the first time Deficio's been able to join us. We have pre-populated our bans. We did this before the show. Do you want to just talk quickly about what your ban strategy was?
Yeah, so I have two things I'm looking at in this ban phase. One, I want to get rid of playmakers from Afromu. I don't want him to be able to carry Ricard down in the bottom lane, so Thresh was my first ban.
Yep.
And obviously when I saw your Pyke ban, I knew, okay, there's going to be a lot of support bans.
Yeah, there's been a pinch on support bans. Akali was banned because I don't like that matchup. For me, Caps is the hardest thing to draft against, but let's get into it. What is your first pick? I think I already know.
My first pick is going to be
Udyr.
Good friend.
Oh, Urgot.
Urgot up in the top lane, coming in instantly. It's really simple. I need Source to have a lane where he will not, by any means, get shut down against Someday, because I think Someday is the carry.
This was expected for me. And I'm not sure if you know about this, but Shen is actually 3-0 against Urgot in group stage.
He's lost every lane.
Which is, okay, I actually disagree. I think the Licorice lane was fine, and a lot of the NA top laners may have been similar to each other in their read of this, so it's an expected loss that I have to do. And then the other thing, with the support pinch that we have already, I am actually going to be drafting Braum.
Early Braum coming in.
Early Braum pick.
All right.
What do you got?
So on my side, this actually means that I can get my preferred AD carry, which I'm very happy to see.
I take a Xayah.
I wasn't sure I was going to get Xayah with this one.
That's possible.
Perfectly down the bottom lane. Now, I do have a little bit of an issue if I'm Fnatic now when it comes to support champ pool, because obviously there's been a lot of supports already. Of the remaining melee supports to play, actually the best one available for me, and that I feel like I have to take now so it doesn't get banned away next one, is actually going to be things like a Tahm Kench or a Taric. Those two are the two options. I like the Tahm Kench personally in this case here, and I'm going to grab him in the bot lane.
Yeah, that's expected. I would have done a full support pinch in the next ban phase if Deficio wouldn't have taken it right there, so I think it's the right choice. I'm also happy with that because it takes away some of the aggression that you'd be able to throw in.
That's where I like the Tahm Kench ulti, though, for later.
Well, we'll see about that. As far as this, looking at the matching roles, you have AD carry support. I don't want to get pinched too hard on AD carries, so at this point, Xayah there, I am actually going to say you're not going to be able to win that hard, and I'm going to go with Kai'Sa.
So far from me, I'm actually happy with what I see. First of all, Someday is on a tank top lane, which means he cannot be the carry for 100 Thieves, which I think is necessary for them to beat Fnatic. So that was one of my goals with first picking Urgot. Second of all, I think it is a fairly weak bot lane they're drafting for a laner who's already falling really far behind. So I'm actually very happy that I feel like I'm sitting in a good spot top, and I have a pushing lane bot lane for Reckless, which is his preferred style. Now, your first ban.
Yeah, second phase of bans. You got a few solo kills, and I don't really want skill matchups, so Aurelia is by.
I will actually say I was thinking about picking Aurelia here if it wasn't for all the pinches on support, because I really wanted Aurelia and I didn't think you had an answer to it, but also had this situation where I needed something, and I actually think Fnatic, if this happens, could just wait with support and pick like Morgana or something later.
And this is what I talk about acceptable losses. That's why I needed to opt into that, because it was very difficult to prevent you from taking Aurelia. Anyway, go for your bans.
Now, for me, one ban I do want to get rid of, because I think it is one of the ways good teams can still lose, is things like a Nocturne. I'm going to take that away from 100 Thieves.
Fair enough.
Also with the Shen up in top.
Yeah, I think that is very interesting, as well as the priority that you guys have shown on Olaf for Fnatic. I'm going to ban that here. There's a lot of things that you'd want to target. Jungle is an interesting one to target with Caps having so many champions, but you're going to see what my strategy is eventually for this, and this is my plan. I don't want to give too much away.
So my last jungle ban is the one jungler Ander has played the most, which I also think would be the best choice for him to grab right now. Also with the Olaf ban, if I had left Nocturne open, I would have picked Olaf into it, but I wasn't sure if it actually was going to survive the ban phase, so I didn't want to risk it, and I didn't want Shen Nocturne to be a thing.
You, my friend, have left a pretty good jungler up that can be quality for late game team fights. I'm taking Skarner.
You're taking Skarner.
I'm saving my last pick for a counter.
All right, so for myself, down in the mid lane, I'm thinking there's actually a lot of choices right now.
There's a lot of choices. It's impossible to ban Caps out, so I've opted for this strategy.
I can go Syndra, which is the safest blind pick right now, but she lacks mobility, which is the one issue. I can go LeBlanc, which I think is the one he makes the most plays on.
Okay.
But obviously there is a few answers to it. Not answers that will completely shut it down. Because of the Skarner, it does make it a little bit annoying. LeBlanc can get grabbed by him very easily. I think I'm just going to take the safe lane bully for myself because I have Tahm Kench for late game. So I'm not concerned about Syndra getting caught out too much in team fights, no matter what you grab, and you probably expect.
This is what I wanted. What's your jungler?
Down the jungle, though, I do have a large notebook here.
Lots of talking for Deficio. Remember, he's on the clock. 30 seconds ticking down.
I am just going to go with the safest last choice I can get for the best Lee Sin player in
You can
Europe.
also get grabbed a lot by Skarner.
I'm okay with that. I got the big boy Tahm Kench.
Yeah. Did you know that Ryu's best champion in solo queue, as well as, in my opinion, professional play, is the LeBlanc?
I know, and that's a skill matchup that I want for Caps.
It's hard to find something safer. If you're going to take LeBlanc, I was going to take the Lissandra. So what's interesting about these is we've talked through a lot of possibilities. We don't have scrim results. A lot of times during draft, the coaches are asking players, what would you like in this matchup? We had to make all these decisions. My strategy going into the draft was to actually get good team fighting and limit the amount of engage that Fnatic can have. And I actually think I did a pretty good job with that. The only thing I have to do is make it through the early lane phase.
I think for me, I wanted someday on a tank, so the main carry of the team is effectively gone. I wanted Reckless and Hylissang to have a pushing bot lane, which is why I also took the Tahm Kench early. In this case, I could have waited with support and grabbed the range support we haven't maybe seen so far and taken Irelia, which could have made it even harder for you guys. But I think in the end, I get really strong lanes all across the board, and I get one of the best jungle picks for Broxah.
All right, let's head back to the desk.
Back over here.
What do you think?
All right, Frost, what are your thoughts on this?
Do you want me to just go in?
My biggest concern is that 100 Thieves bot lane.
I mean,
my biggest concern is all of 100
I
Thieves
agree.
lanes.
Like, I agree that that's always a concern for 100 Thieves. I think that LeBlanc is something that has pressure onto the Syndra, and Tahm Kench isn't necessarily the kill lane up against the Kaiser Braum, and hope they can withstand.
The problem that I have, Jat, is that you sacked pretty much all of your lanes, and then you sacked a skill matchup into Caps, one of the best performing mid laners at the tournament.
But I ask you this for 100 Thieves. What is their win condition against Fnatic?
Not to die before 15 minutes.
Or at 20. Like, what is your strategy to win against 100 Thieves? I think it's an unlikely win.
Yeah.
So in the case that they get through to the mid or late game, that's where they can actually succeed.
I do like the Skarner LeBlanc at level 6 against Syndra. I think you can actually try and go for Flash Hook against her.
If it's a 1-2, but level 6, if you're talking about straight power, yeah, you can have kill potential on Syndra, but you're looking at a Lee Sin at level 6 who gets the kick. So an
I'm not
ultimate that does
expecting it to
damage,
work.
and then Syndra level
Like-
6 with a massive damage. So it's 2v2 level 6 that's still heavily won by Fnatic.
But that's the thing, that's perfect scenario where Broxah is there in the right moment. Predator, Chilling Smite, Flash Skarner, eventually will find his way then. I can see them get a kill with this setup. Ideally, though, Caps will actually understand that and wait for Broxah to be around before he pushes
Either way,
up.
it's fun to go through the possibilities because, in my opinion, 100 Thieves doesn't have that many options. So
Right.
they have to take, in my opinion, acceptable risks in order to get a win condition.
Okay.
I actually think one of the nice things about Jat's draft is its ability to play a 1-3-1 because you do have
Very 1-3-1
Shin
draft.
and LeBlanc. So if the team fights do start falling apart, the only caveat then is that you're taking the risk on the gamble and the fact that you left the Urgot open. So if a breaking point is that no one can deal with Urgot, so if no one can kill Soaz in that side lane, then all of that collapses. And I feel like it's almost like, can Ryu play a side lane versus can Soaz play a side lane with this draft?
But that's also why I banned Nocturne. I was like, I see Shen already. I don't want to give you Shen Nocturne plus maybe a last pick mid. Like, that's too insane.
I would have gone with that.
Because otherwise I could have banned LeBlanc, but then he would have picked the Syndra, and I didn't really feel like I had a good answer then.
But even if you survive past the 15-minute mark, which if we're going to say like early game, categorically, I think Deficio and Fnatic's draft absolutely just blasts 100 Thieves here. If they survive, then you're basically just banking on Rakara on the Kaisa, and his best champion, like this is the one area. When you did Shin Braum, I was like, why won't you take the Xayah here? Rakara literally had 907 DPM for that one Xayah game versus the Kai'Sa and the Varus. He did 650 less on the Kai'Sa, and he did even less on the Varus. It's by far and above his best champion that he's shown at Worlds, and I think that's where things really went sideways, by prioritizing a playmaking champion for Afro versus getting Rikara on a comfort pick.
Yeah, we could continue this discussion. Definitely need to move on.
I was going to say, we can do this indefinitely.
I was ready for this.
Why I draft what I drafted.
Well, we'll see what happens when these teams clash on the Rift as Fnatic look to secure a win and challenge Invictus Gaming for the first seed in this group.
Yeah.
Shifting gears to IG.
Yeah, I mean, if there is going to be an upset today, I think it would either be in the first game or in the sixth game. It's just a matter of in between what we have. So much of this, as far as Fnatic goes, was domination in the first game. They completely ended the game with the mid lane. Aurelia solo killing the Syndra multiple times, even dives bottom that were completely wrong for 100 Thieves. Like, Fnatic completely controlled the pace.
But the thing I always hear about 100 Thieves, especially from you guys, is they find ways, even when behind, to like kind of scrap through. They get a 1 or 2 picks before Drake or something. They buy a bit of time. They get to late game, and that's where they can try and do something. And I think that's the thing for Fnatic here is there's 2 ways they can attack this. Either they say, we know we can beat them in the early game, so we draft super strong early game and we just run over them like we did last time. Or they say, we know the only way 100 Thieves can win is in the late game. So you start putting a few picks in there that are late game insurance. Xayah, Sivir, these kind of 80 carries or Reckless can actually win the late game for you. Could be things that they will actually prioritize to make sure that even if something goes wrong early, they don't just hard lose late game.
I almost think the same win condition for both teams is simply on the top side of the map. Someday gets a skill-based matchup where he can actually try to take over a game, be that really intimidating Urgot that we saw so much success earlier on, or it's a tank versus tank matchup and Fnatic win anyway because they neutralize him.
Yeah, and I know Fnatic has a lot of trust in Source. I actually think Source right now can match Someday in almost anything. It's just the fact that Someday could get a counter pick that could be difficult, but Source is not necessary for Fnatic to win, and that's the key thing. He doesn't need to win lane. I think Someday needs to do that for this team. So Source is the safe option here. Whippo is the aggressive, I'm going to run at your face 24/7, and he might get ganked because of it. Source should play a lot safer, and that's also why they run him here. They trust he will take whatever matchup and do well.
The 2 matchups we keep talking about are the first and the last, and it's going to be important for Fnatic to not be focused on that 6th game of the day because they're required essentially to pick up these wins here to make that one a challenge for the first seed, assuming things go to chalk. Now, their opponents, 100 Thieves, they're looking for revenge after getting crushed the first time around. And if they get this win here in the first game, then all of a sudden the rest of the games become all that much more interesting.
Exactly. It's an incredibly high-pressure game for 100 Thieves because they can be eliminated from groups essentially based on this result. But it's also a low-pressure game based on the expectations of the community. So they have the opportunity to prove people wrong. And I will say, throughout the NALCS year, there were multiple times, Dash, where Mark and I would sit here and talk about how 100 Thieves was done for, and then the next week they would pull out a 2-0 and surprise people. So you can hold out a small bit of hope that they have a chance of doing that again, but I think Fnatic obviously comes in as the big favorite.
Well, despite how unreliable, they can be, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our predictions for Group D. Who's going to advance? Do we all align?
No,
almost.
We do not.
I mean, come on, guys.
Deficio's calling the Fnatic victory over Invictus in the final game of the day to force a tiebreak.
Listen, Fnatic, they have red side this time. They can last pick for caps. They don't need to sit in Swain versus Syndra, which was obviously not going to be a good thing for them, especially after he had to blow like early summoners. I think with the last pick, Fnatic gets this one. The tiebreaker, however, for me, depends on side selection so much before I can call who's actually winning it.
I mean, technically, Jet and I are predicting the spicier one because no team has gone undefeated yet at this tournament. And we're like, Invictus Gaming, today's the day, the 6-0.
We've called now 3 6-0s, right? We called RNG with the possibility. We called KT with the possibility.
I hope you're wrong to
IG should.
While Fnatic is not allowed to look only at that final game, because dropping one game means they won't have the control of their own destiny. IG actually is allowed to do that because if they beat Fnatic, they can lose the other 2 games and still get first in the group. Because then both teams would be 4-2 and they'd have a 2-0 head. So they literally can hide their strategies the entire day before that Fnatic game.
Time to find out who our last teams for the quarterfinals will be as we head over to Quick Shot, Vedius, and Kobe for Fnatic versus 100 Thieves.
Thank you very much, Dash, and welcome everybody for the final day of group stage. As Dash mentioned, I'm Quickshot, he's Kobe, that's Vedius, and we're about to jump into Fnatic versus 100 Thieves. Deficio is hopeful, but he's not the most confident when he's looking towards Fnatic. Vedius, what do you make of Deficio's predictions for draft and anticipation for the game?
Well, I'm excited because I think that he's pretty much on the money. I feel like Fnatic are going to look to draft towards strong laners. They naturally want to try and enable caps as much as possible. It's a little harder this time around, given that they don't have the red side. They won't be able to get that counter pick into Ryu, but I am interested to see what kind of priority Fnatic have on Urgot and Aatrox, because it does seem that when Soaz is in the lineup, they much prefer to have him on things like the Scion, like the tank in general.
Yeah, I would think that they would also go that way. To me, the most exciting part of that draft was that Deficio got the Lee Sin for Broxa, which was the most impressive jungle game, I think, that I've seen today, or I mean at Worlds this year. As well, I think that it will be so important for 100 Thieves to save their last pick for the last pick counter mid lane for Ryu. Ryu got absolutely destroyed by Caps last time around, and 100 Thieves want to set him up better for success.
Well, as we jumped into draft, just like Deficio and Jat, Fnatic and 100 Thieves are prioritizing the supports with Thresh, Alistair, Rakan off the table. 100 Thieves have taken away Akali, and there is Urgot, the only 100% presence champion thus far. The response, Aatrox.
You would expect a Xayah priority right now for Fnatic. Oh, never mind. Aurelia going to be the first pick now. The thing about Aurelia on blue side is typically why it's so strong is because it can be flexed between top and mid. But the thing about Soaz is I'm yet to see him play champions like Aurelia, so I don't know if this is just Fnatic saying we feel so confident in Caps that we're willing to blind pick it, or whether Soaz has actually been practicing this champion.
Yeah, I think Soaz definitely capable of taking it up to the top side. And that may be another reason why they've got him in instead of Whippo. Deficio talked a little bit about the difference in play styles, where Soaz can play a bit more safe, not take as many risks if they do need to swap him a champion like Aurelia. Regardless, we do have the Scion already locked in for 100 Thieves. That super reliable frontline, hard engage for them to try and team fight around, which is what 100 Thieves' entire year of League of Legends has been, team fighting.
Well, I wonder if they're going to get a comfort pick for Rakar right now. The Xayah is open, but instead they're going to prioritize the Kai'Sa. Now, given that it does have a weaker laning phase and they are going up against the pretty aggressive bot lane of Reckless and Hylissang, I wonder how they're going to be able to match up against this, because things like Tristana, Sivir, two big comfort picks for Reckless are up and available.
Exactly. I was going to say, this to me shouts a Sivir pick for Fnatic before the second round of bans come in. But as you said, Reckless has a lot of options, and often they have actually waited to get him something later in the draft. An early Braum pick this time around from Fnatic's side, actually, for Hylissang in the bottom side.
This to me implies that Fnatic are going to put a little more priority on champions like the Ornn, just because right now, if you cannot get engaged in the support role, you kind of look towards the top side of the map, and with Scion already gone, I wonder if Ornn raises in priority.
They would have to pick it right now, because if they don't, then I think 100 Thieves will easily be able to ban that out. You know, as you said, Braum off the table means there's no counter for the ultimate. There's that Sivir we were looking for, though, the Reckless special, and they do want to get that one before the second round of bans come in, kind of as expected.
Now, it looks like 100 Thieves is going to prioritize getting themselves a bit of a strong matchup in the middle lane. They can then look to ban out some of the other potential counters, like LeBlanc can be taken off the board if they don't expect the Aurelia to be mid, but I do think that Lissandra is a fine matchup into Aurelia, assuming that that is where it is going.
Lissandra is certainly a champion that's more difficult to solo kill, but it is a champion that can get beat significantly in CS in lane phase. So it is a little scary that 100 Thieves have actually shown both solo lane picks this early in the draft, but that is going to be it. He's throwing down the gauntlet, and he's willing to face whatever Caps has in the table. There's the Ornn ban that we were expecting, since 100 Thieves don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and of course that means jungle taken off the table. Nocturne was also something Deficio and Jat wanted to take off. I think Deficio said Nocturne can be used by weaker teams to beat better teams. I'm paraphrasing a little. The response there is the Shen removed from the pool once again, meaning 100 Thieves anticipate obviously that Aurelia to go mid, but the Skarn is still up, the Olaf still up, the Lee Sin still up, depending how the rest of this draft shakes up. Vedius, what direction do you think Fnatic will be taking this?
Well, I think that right now they have scaling bot side of the map. They have overall good team fighting. I think that Civic can act as a form of engage, but I think an Olaf would quite nicely fit into the draft for Fnatic. I think that it synergizes nicely in terms of what they want to do. It gives them a little bit of early playmaking potential, and also I think it does synergize nicely with the Aurelia and gives you a strong 2v2, assuming that it's in the mid lane.
Aurelia is definitely a solo lane champion that they can try and snowball early. 100 Thieves are already... Oh, yes! We've got a Bard for Afromoo. This is one of the champions, kind of a legacy champion for Afromoo that he has had highlight plays in the North American LCS on, but we have not seen him bring it out on the international stage, and it brings a very long range engage and possible playmaking for the mid section of the game. Roaming around is one of the areas where we have not seen supports go to in this current meta. It's been so many melee supports sticking in lane with their marksmen. You know, Bard here is a huge switch from 100 Thieves.
And of course, the Lee Sin response by Fnatic along with the Cho'Gath. So 100 Thieves throwing down a little bit of that gauntlet. Let's see how the Sivir handles the Kai'Sa Bard. And for Under, he's got a jungle champion left into the Lee Sin, into this little bit of a death ball composition, Kobe. 8 seconds left on the clock. What direction is he going?
All right, let's see. What's off the table already? Olaf's still available, but it looks like it is going to be the Poppy. More frontline locked in here for 100 Thieves because they are very secure in their late game damage. They, putting a lot of faith in Rikara, this young guy on the world stage, giving him the Kai'Sa along with the added damage of a Bard. Should not be underestimated here. And they've got a lot of zoning now with those 3 members on the first 3 picks.
So I do feel like that both teams have geared slightly more towards team fighting. You can see that with champions like Aurelia and Sivir, that's the name I'm looking for. In terms of the late game 5v5, they offer a lot in terms of damage especially. But I think that the Kai'Sa versus Sivir late game matchup is always very interesting because Sivir does more area of effect damage, but the outplay potential that a Kai'Sa has is that much stronger because of her mobility, because of the amount of single target damage, especially that she's able to get off the back of her passive as well. So I think there's the potential for some explosive late game fights, but Fnatic are the kind of team that run off a very strong early game leads.
And there is a lot of potential for some quick playmaking with Lee Sin and Aurelia. These are super mobile champions, so using that extra mobility there to try and create plays around the map in little skirmishes, I think would be to Fnatic's advantage. As you said, though, 100 Thieves have an incredibly secure team fight if they can get through that early phase of the game to the team fight. Lissandra zone, Poppy zone, trying to create room there for the back line.
Well, let's see if they can survive the early game, because the early game is what actually toppled 100 Thieves last time they played, Kobe. It is NALCS taking on EU LCS the last day of groups. And the 2 men on your screen, Caps versus Ryu. Caps unlocked the win for Fnatic by getting at least 5 solo kills, 2 or 3 of which were on Ryu in lane.
Yeah, it was definitely the Caps and Broxah show last time these 2 teams played. 100 Thieves actually only scored 1 kill the entire game, and certainly were demolished. They're looking for some revenge here, though, as we head in to the last day of groups.
And my eyes are going to be on Afromoo on his Bard. It is one of those champions that is synonymous with one of the North American legends. And of course, it's the first time we're seeing a Bard here in the World Championship group stage, so high expectations for a team that is 1 win and 2 losses. If they win this game, they are tied with Fnatic, and tied for that 2nd seed means anything is possible.
Now, the thing about Bard is, you talked a little bit about it earlier, Kobe, he has a lot of options to roam around the map, largely because of his portals, and also because of the mobility that he gets from his passive charms that'll just be laying around the map. But when you're going up against a Sivir Braum, a lane that does naturally just push a lot, doesn't have a lot of answer to kind of deal with the kind of Rikara and Afromoo don't have a lot of options to deal with the wave clear from this side. I don't know how many opportunities he's going to get to be able to roam around the map.
Well, we'll have to see, won't we? Because as it stands, no shenanigans. Hilly and Reckless going to be helping out Broxah. Nice good pull in the Brambleback. You can see Under starting by the Raptor camp, but Rikara and Afro are already in lane. So small advantage there as a Fnatic duo return.
Yeah, Poppy actually has a very good AoE start. If you take the Talisman, as Anda has done here, and you start with Q on Poppy, you can lay damage on all of those small Raptors. You get a lot of health back. Doesn't take too much for her to start there. And it allows you to have a very clean top side clear where you can transition into this area of the map, go for that top side scuttle as well. Meanwhile, they're leaving Rikara and Afromu here on the Kai'Sa Bard lane to try and use their range advantage early on. You can see constant Qs coming out here from Afromu, looking for that harass, fishing for some damage on the Fnatic duo.
And Rikara and Afromu also got to the lane sooner, so they got that earlier level 2, and already in this early laning phase, they're feeling a little more comfortable. The risk of them getting pushed in early is definitely not there, so for the time being, they're looking pretty good.
And there we just got a glimpse of Anda. As I said, very clean, clear as far as AoE camps go. And most of the AoE camps are, of course, on the red buff side, clearing out Krugs for himself. He's trying to get an early next spawn for those. He goes for an early recall, actually, not even going for a Scuttle Crab at all. So neither jungler has revealed themselves in the river yet. This is actually quite odd as far as what we've seen so far at Worlds. 3 minutes and nobody revealing themselves on those Scuttle Crab wards.
So project forward a couple minutes from the perspective of Broxah or Anda. The fact they haven't revealed, the fact that Anda's picked up those boots now as well, what direction should he be prioritizing his time when you look at the state of the jungle, Kobe?
I think that he would want to get some vision to protect Rikara and Afromu. So much of this game is about this Kai'Sa lane for 100 Thieves, trying to get him comfortably to the late game with enough items that they can actually have the damage output in those team fights. So he is looking for the scuttle first, and he's going to try and lay some wards down for the bottom lane so they can continue to look for the aggressive harassment, which is what you pick a range support for, and they're doing a pretty good job of using it now.
Keep my eyes on the mid lane matchup as well, because let's not forget that the last time these two mid laners met, it was a pretty one-sided affair. Caps had a very impressive performance. He did have a slightly more favorable matchup with the Irelia into the Syndra, and on the Lissandra, you definitely have a lot more survivability options and a lot more early game push, especially against these melee champions. So I think that Ryu is in a more comfortable position, but again, something that Caps often did during the regular season of the LCS was somehow still find those solo kills.
Yeah, and Irelia definitely gets a lot more access to burst damage once the level 6 and ultimate comes in. Ryu there does at least deny the cannon minion to him with the presence of Anda, who, by the way, did leave a lot of those deep wards down. There's your cap stats, though. You guys can definitely say that the stats speak for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, opponent jungle proximity, you can see the goal difference of 15, 1,700, but as we mentioned, it was a very, very heavily one-sided matchup. Caps with a fantastic trade, goes all the way under the tower.
Oh,
Ryu! He didn't follow it through. Here comes Broxah! First blood for Broxah's Lee Sin. Now he's going to get away. Takes a hammer to the face from Anda, continuing to running. Looking at the minimap, Hillisang is coming up. There's the Winter's Bite. Anda's coming from the side. A Cosmic Binding. His body blocked. Oh my God! The shield and everything survives. Broxah gets out alive. Now Hillisang's the target. Ryu's teleported in for the fight. I am speechless at how Fnatic did that.
Oh my goodness, Fnatic don't lose a person. Ryu plays with fear. We heard the interview from Afromu right before this game. He said one of the biggest things for 100 Thieves is to play without fear and go for the big plays. Ryu doesn't have the confidence that that claw is going to chunk down Caps, so he doesn't take it. Yeah, it is definitely a risky take because, yeah, we're shouting about it now, but look how low Ryu is when he takes it. Regardless, though, this is going to be an Acer Predator replay. Please take us through it, Betty.
Yeah, so you can see that Caps, he takes 3 tower shots overall in this trade, and Ryu, he just has to come in on the E and land an auto. Caps has no cooldowns left available, and then because he doesn't walk into the minions, he walks outside of them, Broxah is able to land the Q, and you think at this point the fight is over, but then Hillisang makes his way up.
And this is the chase where supports come to the rescue. Hillisang allows Broxah to use the W to him first, puts up the shield to block Afromu's damage.
Guardian, so useful in that exchange.
Only thing that gets through is the Ignite, and Guardian Shield is enough to keep him alive through the Ignite.
But on top of that, Broxah's W, he used it onto Hillisang first, which means that it has the shorter cooldown.